These are the two best teams.
We were happy and sad because we didn't want them to meet just yet, but they're going to meet regardless. So looking at champion picks underway, what are we expecting? Picks and bans, because both of these teams have a giant pool of champions.
Absolutely. So Fnatic is one of the most difficult teams to predict in picks and bans, whereas Cloud9 generally works out of their same core champion pool almost all the time. USA chance coming through. I'm wondering what the bans are going to be here, because Cloud9, here's the thing, if they get Zyra and Ashe through back to Cloud9, I feel like they're going to pick them with their 2 first picks on the red side, but that means that effectively Cloud9 has to leave something up for Fnatic that is worth Fnatic picking over Zyra. Because Zyra's been such a contested pick this entire World Championships. She's the most played and also has a very high win rate in a lot of these games. Plus, in the North American Regionals, it was Lemon Nation's #1 support. And so much of Cloud9's strategies revolve around Zyra and Ashe, and since neither of those champions are banned so far, I'm actually kind of thinking something's going through with that. But with that being said, if Fnatic plays this smart, they could actually get an Ahri or a Zed with their first pick if they don't ban one of them here.
And you know, it's something that we've seen from Cloud9 all the way through. They're so researched coming into this one. The picks and bans have actually been going pretty quick here.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier about what do we think Fnatic would have as first pick, because we knew they're the blue side. Aatrox actually is something I thought they probably would have gone for, but we banned out. So clever scouting coming out from Cloud9. Orianna and Ahri being the final bans from Cloud9. So all of those mid laners being targeted.
So much targeting. At the same time as Peke's pool getting attacked, I feel like High's champion pool is getting attacked a little bit harder. The fact that the Zed and the Ahri ban came down right at the start, it really limits the champions that High can even think about playing. And a first pick Kassadin. This is Fnatic saying they don't respect High's ability in mid lane, because normally Peke waits for that Kassadin pick very late. Oftentimes the European metagame later on in the season started evolving to last picking your mid, but Fnatic just going right away with Kassadin, who they've won so many games with, and saying there's enough mids banned that they're not fearing anything from Cloud9.
Kassadin had become a standard ban in Europe throughout the summer, because you got Alexic, which we've already seen. We've seen Peke on it. Bjergsen, who is right behind me. There's so many champions in that mid lane that are so strong on Kassadin, so I'm no surprise that. It's definitely slowed things down. What do we think, though? Do we think we're going to see the Zyra-Ashe combo?
That's my guess right now, because there's so much banned against that. It's not even close.
Didn't even think of Shen.
Not even close.
Shen's been taken out of this for so long. We didn't even realize that, of course, he was left open. And Elise in there. That's going to be for Meteos.
So at the same time, if they wouldn't have picked Shen there, they would have given Fnatic Shen Kassadin, which would have allowed Soaz and Peke to really pull off their combo plays that they like to do, catching 2 people off guard. Wow.
Well,
this is very interesting right now. Soaz hates playing Shen, but Balls actually doesn't like playing Shen that much either.
No.
Both those guys are extremely...
They want to be aggressive.
They want to be aggressive and fight, but at the same time, they respect the power of Shen right now. 100% pick bans throughout the World Championships. Him and Zed are the 2 champions that fit into that. And of course, Fnatic will take away Zyra from Cloud9 after this.
Yeah. Zyra Corki being picked in, so it is the combo. It's obviously, Corki's definitely become into it this tournament. We saw the exact same combo up against Samsung Ozone to great effect from Fnatic.
Yeah, and I'm curious whether Cloud9's been caught off guard by this, because they run through typically so many pick and ban scenarios, and when I was watching the North American Regionals, their picks were almost instantaneous. Right after the enemy did, they do them right away. But at this point, this is the longest I've almost ever seen Cloud9 take in the pick and ban phase, knowing that, you know, the Shen and Elise are very core Cloud9 picks, absolutely. But with Zyra being taken away from them, I really expect them to have a priority on that. The next priority for Lemon Nation typically is Thresh at this point, but I don't know if he feels safe with that in this team composition. And High, at the same time, doesn't have anything left that we know of.
We talked about the experience, obviously, in the pre-show, the analysis. Guys, we're talking about how experienced they are. This is Cloud9's biggest ever game, whereas Fnatic, they're the Season 1 champions.
Yeah.
Gragas and Sona, though, getting selected for Cloud9. Took a lot of deliberation over that one.
It really did. And if I'm thinking about the Lemon Nation tier list of supports that I've seen him play, it generally goes Zyra, Thresh, and Sona's down at 3 or 4. So them picking it here and then picking Gragas, which is... High's never played Gragas here in competitive as far as I know. They're a little bit off their game, where if we look at Fnatic, their picks are very Fnatic-esque right now. They could still go with pretty much whatever they want. Maybe they could go York in the top lane, just to please you. It is something that Soaz has played in the past. A couple of his champions have been taken away as well.
It's the one game they lost. They picked Yorick. And I've already talked to Soaz about it, and he was like, no, it was not Yorick. But instead, everybody else was like, no, it really was. But we could see Soaz going with Lissandra in the top lane. It's a champion he's played a number of times. Cyanide certainly on Jarvan, very comfortable champion. So this could be all-round very comfortable picks for Fnatic, and it is.
Fnatic's picked their pretty standard double AP composition with a Jarvan jungle. This is going to allow them to play their play style. They have 2 effective roaming assassins right there, or type of roaming assassins. Peke and Soaz both on AP. Peke is going to be teleport Kassadin. All the things we talked about for Fnatic that they were so successful on a group stage are coming up right here against Cloud9. I mean, if Cloud9's ready for it, then they're going to be ready for it, because this is exactly what Fnatic loves playing the most.
Well, and the question is whether Cloud9 have pulled something out, whether this is a secret strategy they've been working on just for this matchup, because sometimes they backfire quite horribly.
Oftentimes. I mean, we got to keep in mind, Cloud9 only lost 3 games.
Yes.
Since they joined the
in
LCS,
North America,
including the playoffs. In North America, Fnatic lost a heck of a lot more over in Europe as well.
They did.
So it's been a wide open thing. We do not know what's going to happen in this game. I look at the Cloud9 composition. Everything is standard except for the Gragas. It's a complete unknown for High.
Well, as we wait for the game to start, let's check out what you guys at home think is going to be the first team to win their way into the semi-finals. According to LoleEsports.com, 55% of you believe in apple pie. It is Cloud9 winning the vote.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm too surprised. A lot of the Cloud9 fans are really hoping right now against Fnatic. And the vote definitely reflects most feelings on this game, because even though we had analysts going 3-1, a lot of the other people backstage were saying Cloud9. There's a lot of nationalism riding on this game as well, because pretty much anyone I talk to that is from the European region says Fnatic.
Well, you've got USA chance, so what do you expect? We are here in America after all, so not surprising that Cloud9 are the favorites. It does surprise me that obviously the European fans will be wide awake. It's 9 o'clock in mainland Europe right now, so you guys all at home haven't been voting strong enough. The North America have been kicking your ass online, it seems. Let's see whether they can do it on the Rift. That's the question. What do we think here, Jack? Coming into this game, we've seen Fnatic with a comfortable setup, a comfortable lineup. Cloud9 changing, adjusting, coming into their biggest ever game of their lives.
Well, here's the huge thing. Fnatic's actually went with the double teleport in both of their solo lanes, which for Cloud9 might actually work to Cloud9's benefit if they can avoid getting the teleport kills, because Meteos' style as a jungler is heavy farming. And in order to play that style without it backfiring, your lanes need to be able to hold their own. The fact that Cloud9's lanes are both laning against people with teleport means that they are put in a more advantageous situation in the laning phase alone. And Cloud9 excels by forcing mid-game teamfights in most of their victories. If they can actually force a mid-game 5v5 near Fnatic, once again, those teleports won't be coming into play. So really, I think the early and mid-game is going to hinge completely on Fnatic's use of teleport and whether or not Cloud9 can avoid those surprise attacks.
Well, we'll see how it works out with that double teleport combination. Fnatic certainly going to be mobile around that map. So as getting down, and Cloud9 going for this blue buff invade. They're a little bit early, so whether it's just going to be a ward plant or whether they're going to stick around. Yellowstar just off to the side there. Got to be careful he doesn't get caught out. Just managed to get caught with a volley. He's kind of pinned out of position now. They see him. They know that he's pinned. They're going to force his flash here, surely.
This is Yellowstar putting himself in a bad situation early on in the game. Cloud9 just brute forcing their way in there. Yes, they had the threat of the ball's taunt, but really Yellowstar just took a wrong turn.
Absolutely, completely caught out. So, flash down. Expect to see Meteos maybe making a return to his lane to see if he can pick himself up an easy plant on that bottom. Cyanide and Soaz lay in wait. And look at this, Cloud9 are not done yet.
They're making a return attack, but this time they don't have everybody. Fnatic is closing in around them. This is a very dangerous invade by Cloud9 because they are outnumbered and they don't immediately get the buff either.
High getting caught out there. A lot of damage going down on him. Ignite was burned, but he will survive, and that means Fnatic just off the side there will be able to take that blue buff away. It is going to delay Meteos for a while because he's only going across with his red buff now, so Cyanide got the jump on him in the jungle.
Yeah, I gotta say, not the best start by Cloud9 right now. Sneaky is getting a little bit of experience in this lane before Fnatic can get there, but even though Soaz was there to support, he just got his teleport right down into the bottom lane. So lane advantage-wise, Fnatic didn't lose much for that. But jungle speed-wise, Meteos actually lost a fair bit. And so much of Meteos' game revolves around him getting an experience advantage over the enemy jungler so that when they fight, Meteos always comes out ahead. And Cyanide, if he just sticks to farming, will have that edge on Meteos.
So now that the lanes have switched around, Ball's putting a lot of damage down on Soaz, using that Ignite early on, making sure he gets a good chunk of damage down. That's going to put Balls a little bit in the lead in that lane. Peke, of course, up against Gragas here in the form of High as well in the mid lane. But it's the top I want to talk about. Sneaky and Lemonation up against Pushu and Yellowstar. They've both chosen to go for this lane. Who has the edge early on?
Early on, I think the edge goes to Sneaky. He can outrange Pushu with those volleys. Not to mention, since Sneaky was in the lane first, he will have the level advantage until he goes back to base or until a gank comes into that lane. Cloud9 will look to stay pushed up in this lane. And this actually is a point of danger for Cloud9, because all throughout the LCS, I'd say the lane that died the most for them was Sneaky and Lemon Nation, especially when they're on Ashe, because they love to push up. And generally, Lemon Nation does not pink ward very frequently, so they're almost drawing attention to themselves to get killed or to draw pressure up there. And knowing that Fnatic is with a double teleport and knowing they love to go and make plays like that, I see that as a large vulnerability right now for Cloud9 in that lane.
Well, we did see High going back very early on here. You can see he's obviously fell behind in that CS because he did that, because he wanted to get that ward placement just down there, along with that Fairy Charm he picked up. So missing out a bit just to make sure that ward, it's a very important ward for him. He doesn't want to get ganked by Cyanide. And
I think this is the mismatch in this matchup between High and Xpeke. Knowing that Xpeke would just first pick a Cassin into anything High has to offer, High pulling out the Gragas, but then having to burn his flash at level 1 is not beneficial.
Aggression coming out in the top lane, Yellowstar trying to get those grasping roots down, not working out for him. No flashes were burned from Cloud9. They've still got all those summoners, and it does mean that Cyanide effectively in that top, maybe wasting his time. He's sticking around still.
That's the moment where Meteos is just going to immediately go to trying to steal away Cyanide's experience in the jungle. A failed gank in the top lane. Cyanide was not creative with that. They were banking entirely on Yellowstar's ability to land a grasping roots, and Cloud9 was actually keeping their distance there. So a successful counter jungle and gank avoidance by Cloud9 up top and in the jungle.
Peke missing some serious farm there. Missed out on the siege minion as well. So missing a lot of gold and actually very low on mana. Meteos gone unseen so far on Soaz. He is very deep. He's got a good escape.
Though.
Shadow Dash Storm is already used there. He might be able to slide away from this one. There he goes. The repel will follow from Meteos, but I don't think they've got enough damage on this one. The Cocoon comes in. Has he got enough burst? That's the question. He may do, but not going to happen. It wasn't followed up by Balls.
And it'll be interesting to see what Cloud9 does with this lane here, whether they freeze it or if Meteos tries to push it up with Balls, because they have backed Soaz off from the lane. And it does look like they're going to push up. Cloud9 shares experience almost more than any other team when Meteos is in the game. He loves to get the edge on the enemy jungler by taking a little bit of lane experience for himself after ganks.
Peke using that teleport in back into the mid lane, gets those double Doran's rings on that first back, which is going to see, put him in slightly advantageous position over High. High already backing off as well, gets himself a second Doran's ring along with yet another ward. So he's putting a lot of investment in those ward coverage, making sure that Cyanide doesn't pay him a visit.
And we mentioned earlier the potential early threat of the Fnatic teleports into lane, but as of yet, they have used both of their teleports only to return to their respective lanes. So at the moment, if Cloud9 is tracking the teleports properly, they will know that Sneaky and Lemon Nation have no immediate fear of a teleport gank coming into their lanes. But Lissandra's teleport with Soaz will be up soon, and I actually feel like at this point in the game, that's the more lethal of the teleports.
So the AD carries have had their first backs, and we have a difference finally coming out. Sneaky going for a pickaxe.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get that little edge on Pushu as far as trading damage, and also Sneaky can choose in this game whether he goes, I've seen him do triple Dorans, or I've seen him rush an Infinity Edge. It really depends on how safe he feels in the current environment of the game. I'm actually surprised he went with the pickaxe in this situation, because there's going to be so much damage diving on him, especially with the way Fnatic loves to dogpile.
This is going to be Lemonation getting caught out. First blood will come in, and it is going to be an easy execution by Fnatic.
Yeah, and that's Fnatic just using the positioning smartly for them. They knew that Cloud9 had ran out of wards in the area, and they caught Lemon Nation in a rotation to try and get those wards down. It's another one of those surprising Fnatic rotations, and now Sneaky's got to be very scared up here because 1v3 as a level 5 Ashe with only one Doran's Blade, he cannot sit at that turret.
Peke also putting damage down on High. He has got that Rift Walk available, so could continue to go aggressive. Remember, High does have that explosive cast to try and keep him away. That burst damage onto High. He only needs one more Rift Walk and a Force Pulse, and he will go down, that's for sure. So High needs to be very cautious in this situation. Obviously, that is why we're sticking that camera on him right now. Despite the fact it was a 3v1 in the jungle, we see Meteos. He's got a visitor. It is Cyanide. There's a ping ward there, though. So Cyanide trying to get the steal. Not going to happen.
So you can actually see, at least as far as Meteos and Cyanide go, that Meteos is pulling an advantage over Cyanide. But I have to say Cyanide has done more for his team overall. The amount of pressure that Cyanide was able to put on that top lane just by catching Lemon Nation in that one gank path is the difference in this game as far as gold is concerned.
I am still concerned for High in that mid lane. He's
Absolutely
behind on farm against the Kassadin. The Kassadin is a slow farmer at the start.
This is true, but Kassadin generally holds weaknesses over ranged mid laners. But Gragas is very similar to Kassadin in the way that they lane. They're both melees, so Peke is actually not denied farm in that matchup. Gragas is not necessarily a counter pick to Kassadin as much as he is someone who can try and track him down roam-wise.
Yeah, and you can see High trying to go a little bit aggressive there. Just Rift Walk straight away. Wasn't going for the kill, I don't feel that. Didn't use that Ignite, had no reason to go for it. Simply just shoving him out of lane, which is exactly what he's doing, making sure Peke loses as much farm as possible. Lane switch is also coming in. We see Soaz.
Yeah, the reason that High went into the turret to harass Peke back there is because Cloud9 wanted to go for the Dragon, but they do have to fear the teleport of Soaz. They would still outnumber them. Depends how fast they can get this Dragon out and whether they can secure the smite.
We're going to see Cyanide sliding in there, and wisely meets Cloud9 do back off the Ashe Arrow, catching onto a
Stun
Cyanide,
chain!
locked up, stunned up, and now Yellowstar's in trouble as well. Pushu trying to escape, coming round the backside is High, so he's going to keep this chasing on this one. He's gone for Yellowstar instead, but really they could have focused on Pushu and kept him focused down.
Cloud9 and Meteos specifically knew exactly how much damage he could burst on the Dragon. The team was laser focused in when they stopped damaging the Dragon. They waited for Cyanide to come in, they waited on the cooldown of Meteos' bite, they spiked them together, and then they chained their CC well because Cyanide was planning on going in for the steal and flashing out, but they hit him with an arrow into a cocoon and it bursted him down. That was brilliant play by Cloud9 at Dragon.
So let's have a look across the board. What is happening? Soaz and Ball's in this top lane. Ball's gone for that magic resist, as you would expect with the Negatron Slope. He's up against Lissandra in lane. Soaz himself went for the double Dorans and an Amptoman. Pushu and Yellowstar, they've had a fairly relaxing time of it. We do see Sneaky heading, just edging him out in terms of farm, 76 to 69. Also got that assist, which puts him 20 gold ahead. It's not a great deal over that kill that Pushu had.
And the lanes haven't been getting pushed that much either. These teams are really trying to trade farm as much as possible, and if we keep tracking the builds from Cloud9, magic resist is absolutely paramount, because if we look at Fnatic, not only do they have a double AP as far as their solo lanes are concerned, but Corki does more magic damage to champions than physical damage in pretty much every game he is involved in. So with the early Chalice of Harmony from High and the early Negatron Cloak from Balls most likely going into a Spirit Visage, there could be a large amount of defense that Fnatic has trouble blowing through if Cloud9 can pull a bit of an edge.
Well, Pushu's got to be a little bit careful here, getting caught out by the slow arrows. Elimination keeping pressure on him as well. Just getting a little bit greedy there, I feel, Pushu, trying to get some of that extra farm.
And Cloud9 never has the best ward control in the bottom lane. Lemon Nation generally doesn't go for heavy pink wards. And you can tell Cyanide is trying to capitalize on that. He was just there a second ago, but he's backing off because they don't think Cloud9's going to commit, as they are not.
Well, instead, Pushu is going to get himself a lot of free farm. He went back and got himself a Phage early on, so Trinity Force will be built by Pushu. And still waiting to see what Sneaky's going to expand that pickaxe into. Whether it's going to be an Infinity Edge coming out early, whether he'll maybe even turn it into a Last Whisper, who knows. Peke, who waiting for that barrel to explode. He's like, nope, nope, you're not going to steal this experience. I will take the gold. So delicate process between these two, and you can tell how nervous this game is between them. It's just a 1,000 gold difference right now. Both got a killer piece, and still everybody playing really cautiously.
Absolutely, and I feel like when people were trying to predict these matchups, the High versus Peke matchup was the most important. People were thinking Peke was going to stomp all over High. So far, High is mostly holding his own, but the danger, of course, is Peke's mid-game Kassadin. When we've seen him on Kassadin, it only takes one. one good fight for Peke, and he will just steamroll over the rest of the game. Cloud9 needs to be incredibly cautious not to let that happen.
Yeah, they've got to make sure he doesn't start getting those kills going. At the moment, we do see Cloud9 3-manning it down this bottom lane, keeping the pressure on Yellow Star and Pushu. They're going to have a call out towards Cyanide. We already see him trekking down here. They're worried that there's going to be a push, and no early tower dives at all, really, from either of these teams. Cloud9 keeping that pressure down, though.
Cloud9's got to be really careful with this push because there's a ward behind them, and both solo laners on Fnatic have their teleports up. So any type of dive would be rather bold.
Yeah, they could turn this into a very big fight. Don't forget Stand United for balls as well. We could suddenly have a 5-man pile-on in the bottom as we saw Hai and Peke trekking the way around that river. But Hai, he's going to try and sneak around the side. Peke does have a ward in that bush, so wasn't going to fall for it. They have good coverage on Cyanide, though. You can see that ward over by the Wraiths. They're keeping track of him.
And that's actually a really good thing to mention, D-Man, is the overall tension in this game, knowing that effectively everyone can appear on fights from almost nowhere. Because Balls is Shen, his Stand United can generally join the rest of Cloud9. Hai, as far as mid laners go, even though he doesn't have teleport, can get around the map almost faster than any other champion with the low cooldown of body slam as he's moving between lanes. So those bottom lane 3v2 pushes can extremely quickly turn into 5v5 brawls. And I think that's one of the reasons these teams are poking at each other so cautiously, because they're almost waiting for the other team to commit 5 so that they can back away and then push the other lanes. This is very rare, actually, that we're 14 minutes into a game with no turrets having fallen.
Yes, you can tell the tension building. We do see Sneaky's going towards that Infinity Edge with that BF sword. Pushu also going towards that Trinity Force, got himself the Sheen completed now, as well as heading towards that Zeal. The mid laners, we see Peke, he's gone back and got that Catalyst now, so stacking out that mana pool. Meanwhile, the Fiendish Codex has just been picked up by Hai, so
those have kind of been the magic items for Peke on Kassadin. Once he gets that much mana pool, he just uses it for his positioning with his Rift Walk and pulls off some impressive fights. I just wonder, with this next Dragon coming up in 50 seconds, if Fnatic's going to try and contest it, because Cloud9 has kind of made their mark on destroying mid-game Dragon fights with extreme coordination.
I feel like Hai was trying to bait that Rift Walk out there to follow it up with the explosive cast, but Peke just didn't quite get the angle for him. He waits until that Rift Force back up, puts another Force Pulse down at him. Very tense exchange between them. We did see Lemonation coming around the backside, making sure there was good ward coverage in there. They know that the Dragon is up in 20 seconds time. Ping ward is in there, and it was Lemonation actually taking some damage from those plants of Yellow Star.
Everyone is going to be around for this next Dragon fight. It is so tense right now, knowing that Sneaky has that Ash Arrow, and he has been an absolute sniper with it throughout the LCS. He's already 1 for 1. He's been holding it very cautiously, and Cloud9 immediately just dumping onto the Dragon as quickly as possible. They're daring Fnatic to come and fight them. Cloud9 wants this one quickly. We could see another steal attempt and maybe a fight.
Cyanide ready and waiting. There's the slide. It's
off.
Not quite ready.
Got
the snipe comes in. Elimination's taken very low, though. Sneaky also off the side. Stand United going to come in. Yellow Star does manage to pick up 1 kill. Hai getting focused on. Hai is going to go down to the back there. Pushu's still low, but you can see he's pulling damage down towards Balls. Cyanide is going to come out of this one. Rift Walk comes up from Peke. Peke goes deep, but it's a little too deep. Meteos will be able to take it down. No! Rift Walks away! And would you believe it? They do still get Peke down. Balls taken low, so has Mayfield. Fancy this one, but it is very close. It's a 3 for 2. Now they keep it on. Good cocoon on towards Soas. Have they got the damage to get on towards him? A Shadow Dash from Balls will be enough to finish him off. Forces him to get away. The Claw of Doom manages to help him escape. Such a tight fight. It's Cloud9 on top.
That fight could not have been closer. 3 people died for Cloud9, 2 for Fnatic, but the gold value of the Dragon for Cloud9 gives them the slightest of edges in that fight. But I can't even call it a complete win, because 2 kills went to Pushu on Corki. His Trinity Force has been completed, and that was just scary as far as the fight goes. At the very start of this, Lemonation, because of the long duration of the silence and then the knockup, he didn't even get crescendo off. At that point, both these teams actually played this fight very well. Sneaky was not damaged on while Balls was coming in with the Shen ultimate, and Peke waited until the last second. Like, this is so close. Meteos stunned right there, baiting Peke in for the long. Then the red buff actually ended up ticking Peke down once he was through the wall. Everything in this fight was extremely back and forth. All at the end, Meteos nearly finished off Soas as well, if it wasn't for the last second of his Lissandra E cooldown. This is the game living up to the hype to me right now.
This is indeed 4-3, and off the back of that fight, a lot of items were completed as well. So as you can see, he's got that Abyssal Scepter. We do just see Source Boots coming out from Peke, so again, keeping that mobility going. Hasn't completed any other items. Trinity Force for Pushu. Infinity Edge not quite ready for Sneaky, but you can see it's pretty much done and dusted. And actually, Cloud9 have switched their lanes around. We see Sneaky and Elimination now in this mid lane. Meteor's just waiting in the wings, and it does look like a rotation from Fnatic here. You can see Pushu and Yellowstar going up to mid.
I think for the most part, Xpeke was actually becoming a bit of an issue for High, and Cloud9's general playstyle has actually been to have High become a bit of a split pusher in the mid game, especially with Gragas, who can clear waves faster. And if someone is going to roam down to try and stop High, he's the most likely to be able to escape multiple teleport ganks. So there's a lot of reasons that Cloud9 would have went for a swap like that.
And how do we rate those kills? Because 2 of them went on to Meteors. That's not a bad thing, because Elise can do a lot of damage, but it was Pushu that picked up 2 kills for the AD carry.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it's not great. I think Cloud9 would have much rather had those kills onto High or Sneaky. They wanted the upfront damage right now. They might be just roaming around and trying to follow Peke's Kassadin, keeping him down as much as possible. This game is still incredibly close around the 18-minute mark, and the craziest thing, D-Man, is that the turrets still haven't fallen. There is so much inherent threat, I believe, from the teleports that Fnatic can bring, and the Shen ultimate that is now back up again because the Spirit Visage gives it such great cooldown reduction. And on top of everything else, Fnatic is scared of getting caught up by an Asher.
Well, interesting stuff from Cloud9 here. You can see they've just switched back around and they've shoved both lanes. You saw that High was trying to keep Pushu busy, was shoving that lane back in there. Peke will go back to that lane, and again, we see back down towards the bottom, but Pushu and Yellowstar have joined them there, but Sneaky and Elimination, they just shove that wave straight up there so he can get that Infinity Edge completed. Yep,
that was a bit of a risky shove, to be quite honest, because there were no large objectives up, and considering Fnatic's playstyle is generally the wait and see for the enemy to expose themselves and then go for it, but Cloud9 actually hasn't done that frequently this game. I'd say the only time Fnatic got that 1 kill was on Elimination 10 minutes ago in the top lane.
So, top lane, speaking of that, we haven't seen a great deal of it. We do see Soaz backing, so we'll see what he comes out with. Or is he going to get let back to go? Yes, he is. Simply balls, he's just going to get that ward out there to get a little bit of coverage. Sneaky Elimination back in this bottom lane. Infinity Edge now completed along with those Berserker Greaves, along with Source Boots though for Pushu with that Trinity Force. So we'll see whether these decide to bump heads as Sneaky shoves in. They're going to get a lot of damage on this turret before Pushu gets back here.
Yeah, they have to fear the teleports as well, along with the wave clear of Pushu. And just to talk a bit about the item builds, both of these teams are really building in ways that I agree with heavily. Meteos, who is normally an offensive-minded jungler and often would go magic penetration on Elise, rushed a Locket of the Iron Solari because he knows the team needs magic resist auras to deal with all of the magic damage coming out from Fnatic. First turret of the game comes as a small result of that.
First turret of the game does go down, but we see Soaz doing the exact same in the top lane. So all square.
Dead
once
even.
Again, still just slightest advantages. This middle turret, that's going to go down first. High is definitely going to get this one down before anyone can react to it. We see Peke coming in. Force Ball's not going to pick up that gold. He's going to have to back off from this one. He's not going to be able to get that wave. He's trying to get that Force Balls back up. They might go aggressive here. Cyanide going to get caught out. Arrow comes through, catches on Peke. They didn't focus targeting though. The barrel has been used already. The Ignite is available from High. He's going to go aggressive. Is he going to have enough? No, he's not. Just down the side though, we see Yellowstar going down. It was Sneaky that managed to pick up the kill.
And Cloud9 just stacked so much crowd control that the highly mobile Fnatic was caught effectively in place. Yellowstar tried to defend, and this could be a continued push here for Cloud9. Soaz does have teleport, and Fnatic has went back to the base. Balls could also join to create a 5-man squad for Cloud9 if they so choose.
A fast-paced turn of aggression from Cloud9. They had the read of Fnatic there. Seemed to work out very well for them. Peke was just completely caught off the side. Cloud9 immediately reacting on simply taking that bottom turret, rotating around and just shoving Fnatic down in that mid lane. High was ready and waiting to go, but the Dragon has spawned and they're all ready for it.
Yeah, I gotta say, this game is an absolute pleasure to watch, and right now Fnatic has an edge in this Dragon fight because they have the ultimates, whereas Cloud9 used them for the turret and the 1 kill. Even High's ultimate is not up, but Cloud9 doesn't care!
Pushu gets focused on, he has to get away. He's actually tanking up the Dragon. Soaz hasn't used that ultimate yet. He's gonna lock down Elimination. Elimination with no mana at all, but look look at this. Round the backside, Pushu getting locked in, forced to flash away. We can see Meteos continue to chase on through. He may be the death of him. Yes, he will. So as in the meantime, he comes around. He is going to get one down. But look at that. Sneaky once again gets the kill this time on Peke. Soaz, though, comes in. He takes down high in the mid. Lemonation getting taken low. Gets dunked on by Cyanide. Yellowstar off the back. Soaz goes down. Lemonation goes down. It's a 2-for-2. The arrow on towards Yellowstar. He's so low on hit points. He's going to get locked up. It will be another. It's a double kill for Balls. Cyanide now. He's in trouble. He's not going to be able to escape this one, surely. The slow arrow from Sneaky does catch him down. Hawkshot's going to give his vision away. Balls is ready and waiting to chase. But it's not going to be. It's a 3-for-3.
Wow.
What a fight.
These fights
Dragon didn't even go down.
Absolute chaos. No, because Cloud9 engaged before a possible smite war could even happen. Sneaky wasn't even in range at the start of that fight. Cloud9 started that fight without having their big cooldowns up. And now they're trying to finish Dragon on top of a pink ward. How quickly can Peke and the rest of Fnatic get there to push them off of this Dragon?
Teleport coming in. It is going to be Soaz that joins it, and they forced the back away from that one already. But the rest of Cloud9
never ends.
They're getting close. It's going to be all for this Dragon once again.
Well, let's wait on the cooldowns once again. High's explosive cask is up. This time, Lemon Nation has Crescendo. We look across to Fnatic. The only ultimates they're missing are Lysandre's and Jarvan's. Look out, Lemon Nation.
Lemon Nation getting caught out there. Has to use the Crescendo. It's not going to be enough. High getting locked up now. The Dragon will go down, but that's going to be High going down in the background. They could collapse on towards Cloud9 here. You can see just off the top of the screen, you see Peke moving around. Pushu is there as well, just off the side. They're not going to collapse. Cloud9 is safe. It was 2 kills for one Dragon.
That was absolute split decision by Cloud9, and we very rarely see that against them. That is the chaos that Fnatic creates as a team, and they're waiting in the right brush, catching ball.
Ball's getting locked up. Stranglethorns comes out. He's already used that Shadow Dash. Meteos doing what he can, but he may get locked up as well. The whole of Cloud Fnatic coming on towards him. He does get away. Soaz is going to follow it through. Pushu comes in. He gets the kill. It's a 4-0-4 Corki.
And that is the legendary Fnatic rotations that we talk about. Cloud9 thought they could take a shortcut to defending their middle turret, thinking Fnatic could pull off after getting 2 kills and taking it at that. But that is not the way Fnatic thinks. They get you when you least expect it, and that gets them 2 kills as well as the turret, and effectively evens this game once again.
So, look at the goal. Just 500 between the teams. Didn't get much closer. 25 minutes almost gone, and as you mentioned, Jack, this game almost certainly living up to the hype. North America's #1 versus Europe's #1. And it is going to be a battle for the ages, I feel, because neither team wants to edge up on this one. Let's take stock of the situation, because Pushu came out quite big after that fight.
Yeah, Pushu is going to be shredding some people right now, finishing his Bloodthirster and effectively pulling ahead of Sneaky in items. I do believe that Trinity Force and Bloodthirster is a greater item threshold than Eye-Edge and Static Shiver right now, but mainly we need to focus on Peke and Soaz, because that is the chase machine of Fnatic. That is the thing that really makes them tick. Pushu will be there for the cleanup, as usual, and his score will continue to rise if Fnatic is to win this game. But what really matters is Peke's Kassadin and Soaz's Lysandre. If they can close through and stop Sneaky, which as an immobile carry in Ashe is very possible, it could be lights out for Cloud9. I mean, Fnatic has made it through the laning phase for Kassadin, even though that was expected since he was matched up against Gragas. We've seen this story before.
Oh, look at this maneuvering coming out. Cloud9 was stacking up for the top of Fnatic, who quickly rotated around. They want to shove straight for the inner turret.
And Cloud9 is actually going to take part of this trade. There's a bit of indecision coming from them again. Fnatic might wait in the brush here. They're at the very least getting 1 turret, maybe more. Cloud9 splitting up once again.
This is not a pace race they want for sure from Fnatic. They're not done here because they still see 2 members backing off the top lane. They could go straight for the inhibitor turret.
They will. They're going to go right for this. There's still an Ashe and a Sona in the lane. They just got back to base. The turret goes down. Now Cloud9 engages.
They go for Peke, and he's not really the right target because the Stranglethorns is going to bounce Meteos up. That's going to be High going down. Massive kill for Fnatic here. See, Sneaky, he's going to get dropped as well. Crescendo simply saves their lives. It takes Cyanide down, but 4 members of Fnatic are still alive in the base, and 3 members of Cloud9 are already dead.
Cloud9 was so indecisive in that, and Fnatic was not. They engaged before Lemon Nation and Sneaky had arrived in that fight, and the comboing of Fnatic wrecked Cloud9.
Simple position in there from Fnatic. Fantastic stuff. Seemed to work out well for them. It's edged them ahead in the goal, but let's not get carried away. It's only 1,000 difference. Let's check this.
Yeah, the big thing here is High's ultimate did not disperse Fnatic the way they wanted to. At the start of this fight, they wanted the Gragas barrel to disengage so Sneaky could catch up, but by the time Sneaky arrived, half the team was already dead. Peke was completely in chase mode, so was Soaz, and they were able to just chase down, finish off the people, and get the inhibitor.
And we talked about the crowd control link that Cloud9 did on Cyanide there. Check that. That was a grasping route into a Stranglethorn, into Soaz's ultimate. High and Meteos just could not do anything about that fight.
No, despite Meteos' having defense, and this is just Fnatic having control of the map. Peke's actually stacking up his Riftwalk. The next time someone comes through, he's going to get a face full of Cassidy.
We want to get that force pulse higher, and I think it's Lemonation that they're looking for. Peke, though, they're going to look closing on towards Meteos. He's going to get locked up. He was doing so well at the start, but it seems that the Fnatic machine, where are you going to go? Is it going to be enough? Stand United is going to come out. They're going to back away from this one. High goes aggressive on towards Soaz. Has he got the damage? The explosive cast comes out. Oh, force pulse. He's got too deep. Peke may got himself out here. Cyanide slides in. Peke. Rift walks away, and Cloud9 and Fnatic exchange blows, but nobody goes down.
Cloud9 really needed to pick up some kills there because that was catching Fnatic out of position and landing an Ash Arrow square into the face of Xpeke. But even though it's only a 1,000 lead, Fnatic is up more than that. Just based on the way these fights are happening, based on the ward control they have acquired, and considering that there is an inhibitor down for Cloud9. Cloud9 is on the absolute defensive right now. And from what we've seen, Fnatic loves being ahead in these games. Knowing they have the double teleport to completely contain the position of Cloud9 means this lead is a lot more than 1,000 gold.
And let's not forget, Peke likes the back door. They can't leave anything open. We see him down the bottom. He's going to shove down this bottom lane turret. I don't think Cloud9 are going to do anything to defend against this one. 14-8 the kills, 4-3 turrets. That's going to swing to 5-3 in just a moment as Peke keeps on pushing that bottom lane. Dragon will be up in 30 seconds. And there's still concerns for me from Cloud9 on Pushu because he's at 6-0-5 now. They need to try and lock him down in those fights.
Here's the thing, though. Pushu is mainly cleanup. He's doing a whole bunch of damage, but it's more than that. It's all about Peke.
Oh, they're not going to let him go.
Finishing people off. High has to burn Flash away from this one. It seems like Fnatic has enough position that they just want to take out the Dragon because Cloud9 is paranoid with positioning around the Baron Pit and trying to clean up wards then. Fnatic, once again, seems to be one step ahead of Cloud9.
The positioning seems
good. Look how
Soaz is going to go for it. He's going to catch on towards Sneaky. He's going to get saved. No, he's not. Peke comes in, turns him out there. Can they get the turret on the way out? I'm not too sure. The explosive cast was already used. We saw it further on. And Fnatic again, just out-positioning Cloud9.
And it's because their champions are positioned to do so. Lissandra and Kassadin are pretty core Fnatic champions as far as being able to teleport right where they want and blow someone up before they have a chance to go back. Sneaky actually burned his flash and his barrier for that, but it did not matter. And this is the fear for Cloud9 when they were against this composition, is if Peke and Soaz would get to go where they want, there's not a real way of Sneaky dealing with that. Sneaky's still trying to build up armor penetration right now, but he's just dying.
Yeah, that last Whisper is getting there slowly but surely. Meanwhile, Banshee's Veil has been completed by Pushu, so he's got a little bit defensive on his third item. We'll see how that works out. Obviously, worried about those arrows potentially coming out from Sneaky. They've certainly been on point. The question is, can the damage now follow up after it? Fnatic have effectively stacked out a lot of damage items. Seraph Embrace just completed by Peke. Rabnar's Death Cap was picked up by High, so he is potential to blow someone up. The question is, can he get that free time on them? Yeah,
it would have to be a pretty key combo right now, and knowing that there's actually a bit of magic resist on Fnatic as well, it becomes much more difficult.
Wow.
Peke's split pushing with teleport as well, and like, there's not a good way right now for Cloud9 to regain position over this Baron buff, just knowing the absolute mobility that Fnatic has right now. Cloud9 did have it for a second, but then Fnatic has caught them in 3v4s, 5v3s, 2v4s, too many times now. And it effectively means that even the 5v5, if Fnatic is down 2 combat spells because they have double teleport, it might not be enough for Cloud9.
Let's see how much damage Peke can put down. Not a great deal on balls right now. It seems he's just managed to lifesteal a lot of that back. Soaz, though, he's got that Zhonya's Hourglass completed, and I fear that may well spell a certain dive for Fnatic. They're not going to be too afraid to go straight in on Cloud9 the next time they meet. And you can see it's actually Cyanide being so aggressive around that red buff area. He's been looking for a fight around there for some time.
Yeah, Fnatic is really just waiting to find their next big opportunity, and I think it's going to come fairly shortly. Cloud9 continues to come in to their jungle and attempt to regain vision control. That is just giving Fnatic multiple opportunities to try and pounce. Peke's now roamed back around to the mid lane. he might be coming in around behind Cloud9. At the very least, Cloud9's going to have to either give up this outer turret or stand and fight.
Well, let's not forget that inhibitor is completely exposed. There's minions on it right now, and Cloud9 realize they're going to have to try and defend this one. They have come around. There's only a couple of hits left on it from Pushu. Be surprised if they stick around on this one.
Is up really far.
Just off the round, there's the Hawk shot. They realize the danger. Peke does come in, doesn't get the slow. Meteos is going to land back in there. Are they going to go for him? They do lock him down. Stan United has been used. Fnatic are just going to back straight out. There's going to be a good catch on towards Cyanide. He's taking a lot of damage. He may go down from this one, but the rest of Cloud9 have gone a little too deep for it. Meteos is going to get taken down. Pauses the next focus target. Soaz comes in. Good crescendo from Lemonation. Blows Soaz in there. Pops that ultimate straight off though. Peke picks up one. Peke going to close in towards Lemonation. He's going to be the next focus target. There it is. The Rift Walk force pulse straight on towards High. Going to be next. Sneaky goes down off the side. Peke's going to roam it in. There's the triple kill. And it's Fnatic. Cleanup duty. That's an ace.
Just destroyed Cloud9 in that one. They got them into the fight because Meteos was honestly trying to pick it. And that is the way both of these teams play. Cloud9 does not let themselves get starved out. And Fnatic knows how to finish.
That is surely the game now for Fnatic. Game 1 of the quarterfinals as the Season 3 World Championships will go to Europe's Fnatic. They have struck first blood on North America's Cloud9. This is still a very tight battle, I feel, though, because that game went close for 25 minutes.
Yeah, even though this one ended in 33 minutes, it was not because it was one-sided by any means. Cloud9 was going blow for blow with Fnatic for the majority of this game, but in the end, it was those unconventional, almost annoying-looking rotations that Fnatic always is able to pull off. They caught Cloud9 coming towards turrets, trying to defend them again and again, and Cloud9 was not reacting appropriately. Fnatic definitely gets round 1, clearing away.
And it's all
is going to play the mid lane ban game, specifically because they have first pick. And they can effectively force Fnatic to use all their bans on High, but then don't really bother trying to ban out Peke, because any ban against Peke is a soft ban against High as well, and they already know that Peke wins that matchup. So I'd think that Cloud9 would focus their bans elsewhere, but they actually go with the exact same bans as game 1.
Exact same bans so far. Remember, High can play Kassadin. Instead, they've banned out Kassadin. So they're like, no, not going to get to play that one. What does that leave open? Will they go for that Zyra first pick?
Well,
because
it
you're
leaves
going
the
to
Fizz open. Because the Fizz was banned last game instead of the Kassadin.
The problem is, Peke knows what to do against the Fizz. He's played against them a lot in the European LCS.
And I know that in the North American regionals, High picked a Fizz into Scar's Diana and got beaten up really badly. I feel like Peke is also going to have a plan for Fizz. Not sure exactly what it is as of yet, because his Kassadin's obviously taken away. And if I'm thinking about this, probably every champion that Peke has played so far in the World Championships is off the table right now. He might just end up trying to pull out Gragas, even though Fizz is a counter pick to Gragas, but he might just have that much faith in himself.
Well, we'll see what he does go
That's
with.
just the mid lane.
I think potentially this is going to be Zyra Corki once again, locked in.
Absolutely.
It seemed to work so well for them. There it is.
There's D-Man with the bold prediction right there, but it's not Super Bowl because we know that Lemon Nation, #1 rated support is Zyra. Yellowstar is really good at Zyra as well. Power pick that they can just take away.
Absolutely.
And Pushu's Corki was dishing out an extreme amount of damage. We know that Corki has exploded onto the scene here at the World Championships with the buffs and the Trinity Force. Once again, I mean, Fnatic has the damage output from from Pushu when he's on Corki, and it allows them to pick a bunch of roaming assassins and again try to catch the rest of Cloud9 in rotations. Like, so far in this game, things are very much in the way of Fnatic so far for picks and bans.
Well, Peke may have took a lot of the highlight reels. I don't think Pushu actually died in that last match. I'm trying to think back.
He was 6-0 or 7-0.
Yeah, something like crazy like that. So he's did very well in the lane phase. Will we see the Ashe coming out? Oh, switch around this time. Nocturne for Meteos and Thresh for Elimination.
So Meteos has pulled out some Nocturne in the past. He'll go full tank. He's done it at the North American Regionals. I've talked to him about the difference between his full tank and his full damaging Nocturne. He says the full tank one is the serious Nocturne that he'll play, and he'll need to do it in this game if he wants to be able to dive through Zyra and onto Corki and actually take a couple of hits. Thresh, once again, is the support I expected from Lemon Nation last game once the Zyra got taken away from him. And this is Cloud9, as we usually see, just defaulting back to their Cloud9 picks.
I wonder whether this is Peke pulling out a Faker, or whether it would be for Soaz. Remember Soaz? really has an enormous champion pool. This is like the versatility of Fnatic. The fact that Soaz in the top, Peke in the mid, they have such an enormous champion pool. We could see Soaz being squeezed onto Shen. Shen, who has made it possibly through to the 7th pick.
Yep.
How did I even forget Twisted Fate? That is...
Twisted Fate's left for Peke.
That is Peke's champion.
Yeah.
But up against the Fizz, that's a mismatch.
Well, it's a mismatch for most people at the time. But once again, Peke, he's the guy who first picked Kassadin last game against Tai. So he has the confidence in himself to do that. Then they actually swapped right out of Shen into Elise right now.
Favorite champion.
Could very well be Elise in the jungle or in the top lane. They're keeping it open right here. I think by showing the Shen pick right there, Fnatic, is almost daring Cloud9
do you
to
want
pick
to
the
take
Shen. Like, are you sure you don't want to have Shen?
We've got Twisted Fate. Do you want Shen?
Do you want Shen to block that? And no, they're just going with Rumble. This is something that Alex Penn was talking to me about, is how in all of their pick and ban scenarios, they just assumed that Rumble would be banned out because it is Ball's far and away favorite champion. Last game it was not banned out. They decided to go with Shen anyway. But now, with everything on the line, they go to it because it's what got them.
And that, I believe, is simply the versatility of Fnatic switching around it, because I'm almost certain that would have been Soaz. Soaz has got such an enormous record on Elise, a win record. But instead, they could just switch it around, and it's a case of, you're going to be up against the Rumble, what do you want to play? Do you want to stick with Elise, or should we give that Cyanide? Because Cyanide's played Elise a number of times as well. Yeah,
they can do almost whatever they want. They have a lot of options open here. They could always go with another Lissandra. They could try to do that. They could do the jungle Elise. He's sitting on Kha'Zix. Why would he be sitting on Kha'Zix if he was going to pick Kha'Zix? He would have just picked it.
Nah, he's not picking Kha'Zix. He's trying to get me going. That's what he's trying to do. Yeah. It's not going to happen. I'm not falling for it. They are going to sit on Zac, and Zac will be set. So, Zac's could be, again, this could be mid lane or jungler.
I think it's top lane. Especially recently, Zac has mainly been seen in the top lane. That was the immediate trade that they did.
Yeah.
All right, then. So Cloud9 has tried to load more of their crowd control into their bottom lane like usual, and then they're relying on their jungler, top lane, and mid to just do pure damage. Whereas this time, Fnatic actually has a little bit more crowd control than we've seen in the past, but just as much closing ability. This is another composition that Fnatic can play very solidly. It's another Fnatic style. But this time I feel like Cloud9 actually has a couple more tools to deal with it.
And again, in my discussions with Fnatic, when I was talking about, I love Soaz and Peke being on Assassins, it's the flow, and it's a great game to cast when they're roaming around the team, as we just saw in the last match. But in Soaz's words, says, yeah, but you can't play the same all the time. You've got to switch it up, and that may be what they've done here. Has Cloud9, though, got the champions they wanted, because they're very comfortable champions for them.
Yeah, the big thing that I'm going to be watching for in this game is Hai versus Peke. You first pick the Fizz after so many mid lane bans, and then you get Peke on Twisted Fate. Whether or not Hai can shut him down, and I mean actually shut him down. If you're trading with him, generally Peke will make the plays in the late game. Cloud9 definitely has to put a focus down onto Soaz in this match. Or sorry, into Peke.
And one something before we jump in towards anything else. What I want to talk about here with Fnatic is when we see Peke on Twisted Fate, they're not looking to fight. He's looking to split push. It's going to be a 4v4. They're going to force those 4v4s, and Peke is just going to be off doing his thing.
And it is extremely difficult to split push against a Fizz. If Fizz gets going a little bit. I always consider Fizz a hyper carry as far as mid lane assassins go. And last game, Cloud9 definitely got outscaled a little bit as they were trading. I don't know if the same will be true in this match.
Well, we've seen some fantastic Fizz so far in the tournament here in the Season 3 World Championships live in Los Angeles. We are in Culver Studios. We'll be moving into the Galen for the semi-finals. The question is, which team will be going there? Will it be Fnatic, who are 1-0 up, or will it be Cloud9, the North American champions? Can they make it through? They've got to pick up this win here. They've got to go 2 wins on the bounce. Fnatic in a comfortable position, and that, I feel, may make them play a little bit more cautiously.
I really wonder if Fnatic is going to let Cloud9 get one back here, because Fnatic is so close right now to moving into the top 4 teams in the world, whereas Cloud9, they're just getting started here at the World Championships. They just played their first game. They lose again, they're out already. This is not a game where Cloud9 has any margin for error, and I wonder, because of how freely Cloud9 has played all year, how they've just seemingly been carefree about all their games, and I think that's one of the big reasons they were so successful. I don't know if you can play like that in a situation like this. North America's last hope, you've heard them all talk about how much pressure they're putting themselves under to try and not let the North American fans down. And they have to win this one.
Well, Cloud9, can they play fast and loose, or will Fnatic put a crimp in their style? Of course, the Flash was burned from Yellow Star early on last match. This time not going to happen. Ward coverage from Cloud9 getting on towards that red buff. You see Fnatic doing exactly the same thing, passing that ward though in that river. So Cloud9 are well aware of their position with that ward in the bush. Ooh. Looking at a stun card from Peke. Going to throw that one out and high and say, yep, I'm here. You're not going to come this way.
No, he's cutting you off.
Walk the long way around.
Yeah, he's making him take the long way around right there. Peke already trying to assert his dominance. It's about sending a message early on in the mid lane.
We'll see whether they do. He went for boots at the start, actually.
He does that frequently on TF as well. It's generally for gold card threat when you're doing something like this. And what the heck does Sneaky have planned right now?
Is he going to try and piercing arrow steal this?
I don't think it reaches. I think he'd have to flash over.
No, it's not going to happen anyway. The smite was used, Lemonation, putting a bit of lashing on Soaz, but he will just head up towards the top. So we have a lane swap coming on here. 2v1s in both bottom and top. And as well as this mid lane dominance pressure. Peke thinking again. But let's look at these lanes. Lemonation and Sneaky already pinning down Soaz, taking him very low on hit points at the very beginning than the level 1 exchanges.
Yeah, and High already trying to jump on Peke, so a bunch of early trading because of the wards that Cloud9 had placed in Fnatic's jungle. They knew the pathing of Cyanide, which allowed both of their mid lane and top lane AD carry and support to go aggressive early. I feel like that was a mistake of Soaz to be pushed up that far, knowing he was against 2 people. And now Meteos, knowing that Elise is down at the bottom, is going to just try, I believe, a 3v1 dive or a straight-up turret push as soon as Soaz comes to the lane. They're actually targeting Soaz right now instead of Peke for their shutdown.
It's a straight-up fast push on the tower. We'll see how well it works out. We're only in that 3-minute mark, so that tower will be stronger, reinforced. Soaz, of course, just hanging around, not going to get too close and aggressive on this one. Meanwhile, down the bottom, they were actually zoning quite heavily on balls there, and you can see they're still doing it. So they're keeping him away from the experienced balls, still at level 1 as well as Soaz.
He might even be just going back to base. No, he's sticking around. Both of those solo lanes are in great danger right now. Soaz decided to go jungle and is effectively just giving the turret away to Cloud9. 3 minutes, 32 seconds, first turret of the game.
Yeah, who needs a patch on the turrets, eh? Not these guys, that's for sure. But it is going to be High going aggressive. Urgent Strike is available on Peke. You can see he's already used the Ignite. It's going to take him very low. High should get this one. First blood for High.
That is exactly what Cloud9 needs in this game. High making a play onto Peke. 1v1, mano-a-mano, finishing him off with Fizz. That's the reason it's dangerous to pick Twisted Fate into Fizz.
Cloud9 continuing to push on towards this inner turret, and they're going to get it down. There's no way Fnatic can react to this one. Soaz is just off the side, but he's got nothing. He's still at level 1. He's going to get caught out. Soaz in trouble, gets leashed. Piercing arrow comes across, forced across. He's got his passive available, and he should just about survive.
Yeah, and the backup had arrived for Fnatic. So Fnatic trades a turret back here, keeping the gold fairly even, but Soaz and Balls have both been heavily denied in this game. One of the reasons that Balls loves the Rumble pick so much is he doesn't care generally about how far behind he gets because he is so confident in his ability to land equalizers that he'll just sit back. He can be 0-5 in a game and still come in for team fights.
Interesting, different style. Like Cloud9 keep trying to push shove on towards that top, almost like the Chinese teams we've seen so far. Soaz was just having to absorb the experience, does finally get level 2. Meanwhile, Balls, he realized he couldn't get the bottom. They were keeping him completely zoned out. He went to the middle, actually got feed a little bit of experience. Lemonation taking a lot of bursts from Peke, not going to get anything from it. Cloud9 stacking up very nicely at the moment in this mid lane.
Yeah, they were trying to orchestrate a 4v1 dive onto Peke, but Cyanide was there for the lane support. Despite the first blood, Cloud9 sacrificed so much farm in order to get that the gold is actually even. So the 600... Or actually, it wasn't 600. It was only 400 gold they got for First Blood because they didn't get access to the assist pool since High 1v1'd him. And that's basically been made up by Fnatic's slightly superior farming in both the top lane and in the AD carry position.
Certainly made Peke respect High a little bit more. He's definitely staying a little bit further back. And the problem is, as I was about to say for Peke, that once High starts getting to level 5, 6, he's definitely going to out-duke Peke in that lane phase. There's no doubt about that.
And it means that Peke is going to have an issue finding the positions in the side lanes. High, especially when Fizz gets ahead of you, no longer gets denied farm because oftentimes early on in games, High gets heavily denied in farm on Fizz because it's melee versus range. But as soon as Fizz pulls ahead, it's no longer an issue.
Yeah, we do see Bit of a switch in the lanes, and of course Cloud9 are going to move that 2v2 lane down towards the bottom there. Ball's up against Soaz. Now meanwhile in that top lane, Soaz has a level experience advantage over him right now, and that trade seems to be going quite well towards Balls. In fact, that Flame Spitter doing work, but Soaz continuing to keep that gold flowing.
Really trying to live in the danger zone right there as Rumble and High goes in as Cyanide is procking around the outside. He's in danger getting locked up here.
Stun card there, but look at Cyanide. He'd repelled up, but wisely High had already managed to trickster away and get out of that range. Meanwhile, Meteos hasn't hit 6 yet, but he's very close to it. He's just off those wraiths, so he may have that paranoia available in a moment.
Yeah, there's a couple big farm differentials already developing in this game. You obviously have Meteos out farming Cyanide as he does to every jungler because he puts such a heavy emphasis on clearing camps. But also, you see Pushu far ahead of Sneaky because Sneaky puts so much emphasis into turret diving. We really have to see whether Meteos' farm can transition Cloud9 this game because it did not in the first one.
There's a potential switch around. Where is Yellowstar going? Are we going to see two moving in towards that mid lane? Doesn't look like it, judging by Pushu's position, and so he's heading down. So it's simply Yellowstar trying to assist and help out some ward control around that river area. You can see he's heading up towards the blue buff, so potentially they're going to try and fight for the blue buff here. You can see Yellowstar's going to go around there. Peke desperately shoving that lane. Actually close in terms of farm. Sorcerer's Boots have been picked up by High, so he's got the edge over Peke so far.
Very interesting positioning here by Yellowstar, getting so many deep wards, and those were honestly quite dangerous wards for him to be going and placing. Sure, Peke could have helped support, but I mean, both AD carries are on the bottom of the map, and Cloud9, especially with Rumble, if he can ever hit level 6, would live for a fight in the jungle. But with all that being said, Meteos is trying to orchestrate a gank down the bottom lane, and this is a clean blue buff steal by Fnatic. And this is unexpected.
This is surely a clean gank as well on that bottom lane, but this could be the blue steal. Cyanide will take that away. Meteos is actually backing off. I thought he was going to go for a push. He was all on his own down the bottom there because of what Yellowstar's been doing.
Yeah.
And they're just unaware of his position.
Absolutely. High now trying to close in around, but this is not the people that Cloud9 wants. High's in a big bit of trouble right here.
He's going to repel through, playful trickster away. Cocoon does land, as does the Grasping Roots. High takes a bit of damage. The Ignite also thrown on towards him from Yellowstar, but they will all back away from that one. Cloud9 could have took advantage of that situation in the bottom. Instead, they chose to defend out that top because they felt something was coming. It's actually freed up Peke and Fnatic in this mid lane.
But at the moment, Fnatic is the one forcing rotations, and that is the position they are most comfortable in. Nocturne trying to counter.
Well, he does have that stun card, and Wise, he doesn't use it. Waits for the shield. Cyanide gets hooked in there. Oh, repels just out of Earth there. Is he going to be able to get back down in time? No, he's not. That will be the kill. Lemonation picks that up. Meteor's taken very low here. They're going to continue. The Dominants try and counter towards him. He will back off. Stun card being pulled. Are they going to go for Lemonation? They will. Flashes out of it nicely to avoid the wildcards.
And if that locked him down, I think Pushu actually could have bursted him, even though he was so healthy. A smart flash there by Lemonation coming down, but now the lane pressure by Fnatic might try and take out this turret of Cloud9.
We do see Pushu's gone back towards the bottom. Look at that playful trickster bouncing on towards Yellowstar and Peke. You see the danger that Fizz can possess. And actually, it is Peke continuing to keep that farm rolling. He's keeping up with High despite that early kill that he managed to put on him ordinarily in that straight 1v1. Once you lose that first blood, you're in all sorts of trouble. Pushu getting a mountain of farm down that bottom because Cloud9 had shoved that wave on towards him, so Pushu's going to get that stretch and creep score against Sneaky.
And I think throughout this World Championships, Fnatic, more so than any other team, has showed their ability to bounce back in games, because there's been a couple games where they're down 2,000 gold, 3,000 gold laning phase, but then they always make plays.
Sneaky getting caught out. He's going to get stunned in. That's the Peke. Destiny, brilliant dark passage pulled out by Lemonation.
Just making it in range. Sneaky still has his Varus ultimate as Cloud9 pushes up the mid lane as well.
Meteos gets locked up by the Cocoon, but he does escape successfully, and Fnatic hold onto that middle turret. This game is certainly heating up. Cloud9 creating plays as well as Fnatic.
There's some pink ward control in the Dragon area for Cloud9, but once again, as you said, Peke looking to split push the bottom lane. He used his Destiny to get Sneaky out of there, and he's just trying to farm up really away from Fizz and away from the main threats of Cloud9.
Oh, we do see Pushu back in this mid lane. They've gone for that Phage, and of course, Sneaky going for that BF sword. Wants to get those big bursts of damage from that piercing arrow if they can land. Sheen been picked up by Peke. Meanwhile, High still got their Source Boots. Hasn't been back to buy that just yet. Is he going to go for the Lich Bane early on here?
Well, the last time I saw him play Fizz, he actually rushed the Zhonya's Hourglass because he loves being able to get off a second set of spells in team fights, and this is actually a sneaky rotation by Cloud9. They had the pink wards in the area, and this looks like a uncontested dragon by Fnatic. Fnatic may not even get mid-turret pressure on this one, but they definitely have the top turret.
Balls is defending off, and he keeps Peke away. We do see Pusher going towards the top, though, so they're going to get a big burst of chunk of damage down on towards his top turret. The rest of Fnatic are rotating up there, so they should be able to catch this one out. However, they've left the middle kind of exposed here. There is only Cyanide keeping Lemonation and Sneaky away from this turret.
Fnatic is actually hoping to catch Cloud9
in this turret.
Fnatic is actually hoping to catch Cloud9 defending that top turret, which is why they're out of position. And this time, Cloud9 guesses right instead of wrong and gets mid.
So it's going to be 4 members of Fnatic going towards the top, but 3 members of Cloud9 do take down that middle turret. Turret for turret, but more importantly, Dragon flowing in the direction of Cloud9. Will they continue to push, though?
Yeah, this is a very dangerous time. Balls might get caught out. He flashes. Can Peke catch?
Stun card comes in, but is Peke taking the tower hits, and he may just defend this one off. Can he hold on? Pushy's taking too many tower hits. He's going to go down. No barrier comes out. Saves the day, but the rest of Cloud9 are collapsing on this one. Piercing arrow will come across. Pushy is back in already. He may be able to get off from this one. It seems that Fnatic have stole the march this time around.
Wow, that was an incredibly one-sided 4v1 dive. Balls nearly took down 2, but Fnatic does get the kill out of it. I don't know if that's worth it, though. Meteos free pushing this bottom lane. Balls actually got a fair bit of farm with that equalizer because it cleared the whole minion wave as well. And High was farming in the middle. Even though Fnatic got a kill out of that exchange, I'd say Cloud9 came out on top.
Absolutely. Fantastic play and fantastic equalizer from Balls. Getting Pushu pretty much nailed, nearly got him, pulled, forced the barrier out, and all that farm. Meteos, meanwhile, he just needs a little bit of help, and here it comes. Cyanide in trouble. He can repel away from this one, but will it be too late? Peke comes in. He's going to have that stun card ready. Who's he can land it on? Not Meteos, that's for sure, because he had his spell shield ready and waiting to go. And Cloud9 back out.
At least Fnatic saved that turret. So for now, the outer 3 turrets remain 1/3 intact for Fnatic. They really need to keep those up as of now. High. Boy, he was actually too worried right there of Cyanide, but he goes in anyway. Not for much.
Stun card at the right time, just about. That was a fast stun card pull from Peke there.
Yeah, he's pretty good at Twisted Fate right there. It could have just been a double tap, and he's like, oh, nice.
That was handy.
Yeah, I've done that before.
We've all done that.
I feel like Peke might be a little better than me, though.
Right now, though, we do see Fnatic trailing 1,000 gold behind. Meteos picks up that red buff. Cloud9 stacking back around this mid. Fnatic are in defensive position, but of course that tower already down. Pushu heading towards the top, trying to get that Trinity Force complete. Gets that farm continuing to roll. And then in terms of farm, it is actually Fnatic just edging ahead slightly. But look at Meteos compared to Cyanide. There's a big differential there.
Yeah, and Meteos needs to make that differential felt in team fights. Preferably before Pushu can finish his Trinity Force, because we know what happened last game when Pushu finished his Trinity Force. And also another thing that's happened across both these games is Fnatic has put a bunch of attention to Cloud9's blue buff. And with High in the bottom lane, there's no way he can pick up that blue buff on Fizz. In fact, Cloud9 might just be taking it for themselves, so Fnatic can't steal it away, as Sneaky took the blue buff for himself on Varus.
Yeah, making sure they keep hold of that one. High's going to keep pushing this bottom lane. Fnatic, if they don't deal with him, they will lose that bottom turret, and I believe, judging by the positioning, it is going to happen. So Fnatic may indeed stack towards this middle. We do see Meteos and Sneaky sticking around in the mid lane at the moment, though, so they're going to keep Fnatic's 3-man push at bay. Peke is backing off. What's he going to buy? What's he going to pull out? It is just simply going to be ward coverage that he requires. That turret's going to take itself down.
Peke is going very defensive on Twisted Fate this game. As you said, he's not looking to fight. He's looking to split push this game. And it is a very different style that Fnatic has to play here. Even though they're still trying to catch Cloud9 in rotations, their catch potential and their ability to finish off a Cloud9 person while they're caught in a rotation is much lower. Zac is full tank. Twisted Fate is building defensively. That is nothing compared to the damage that Lissandra and Kassadin were putting out in the previous game. This is much more a comfort zone for Cloud9 than it is for Fnatic.
And the fact that High has just gone back and got himself that needlessly large rod tells me that Cloud9, they want to fight. They want to fight fast and early, it seems. And Fnatic, meanwhile, they don't want to be nervous. They're going to back away once again.
Yeah, and you can see Fnatic's already in very defensive formations. They don't have split pushes going in any of their lanes. They've lost their outer 3 turrets, and they have effectively lost ward control over the Dragon area as well. Even though Cloud9 hasn't put down many pink wards, they're keeping Fnatic back just by having bodies in the way.
And you've talked about how important the Rumble his equalizer can be on that Dragon control. It could be a vital turning point in Fnatic. I'm not sure when this Dragon comes up in a minute whether they want to fight for it.
I don't know if, like, it's very tricky. Instead, they'd rather get a catch somewhere else, and they get high with the gold card.
They're going to catch on towards him. He's going to jump away. Good Earth coming out there, but oh, the cocoon landing max range there from Cyanide. Locks him down. That may signal it. He's going to be back up in 30 seconds. Dragon's up in 50. He's got 20 seconds to run for the Dragon.
See, those are the types of fights that Fnatic wants to try and catch, because they can't win in a 5v5, but in a 5v1, they absolutely can, because they were just able to chase high down. If Cloud9 can't make counterplays to those types of attacks, they're going to try and do that every time Destiny is up for Peke.
We'll see which way Peke goes with his build. Whether he's going to rush out the Lich Bane. We do see Zhonya's Hourglass going to be coming out from high as that first item. Balls, meanwhile, with that Haunting, guys. He's going to get himself some of that farm going. He's fell quite a long way behind Soaz in terms of farm. You can see it's a 30 CS difference.
And Balls really wants level 11, so one more level, and that equalizer is going to become substantially more threatening. They've managed to get high up. Actually, Pushu is off in the top lane right now farming, and this could effectively just be a Dragon for Cloud9. Fnatic is going to push mid in contrast to this.
They're going to try and rush this Dragon down. Fnatic, as you said, you can already see Peke's position and all of Fnatic's position going straight for that mid lane. Pushu with the Trinity Force completed, Bloodthirster completed for Sneaky.
This could be a Cloud9 fight as soon as possible. They might try to engage from the side, since Fnatic has exposed themselves.
They've got the turret. Can they get back in towards it? High's trying desperately to get close. It's going to be the Paranoid diving on towards Cyanide. Stranglethorns was used. It's going to bounce Meteos up. We can see Lemonation throwing down the box, but Meteos is taken so low. The Ignite's running. Hasn't yet found a kill. Pushu taken so low. Pushu goes down. Cyanide manages to get a kill as well. High's getting locked up, but there's not a lot of damage coming out from Fnatic right now. Gold card ready. Catches on towards Balls. You can see Wildcard potentially going to follow. No. Gets flashed out of. Fnatic haven't got position. Gold card's going to get pulled once again. It's Sneaky that gets focused. They're going to see the damage coming out from High is huge, but he doesn't manage to find the target. Ignite gets him down. It was a double kill for Soaz, though. Big exchange between Fnatic and Cloud9, but it was overall a 2-for-2.
Wow. So just another crazy fight from this Fnatic versus Cloud9 series. Soaz, All right, he's okay. He's fine. He's Zach.
He's like, I got cell division. Lemonation may get him on towards him here. There's nobody else too close to him. There's a ward placement going down. Loses one of his flobbers, but instead he walks away.
I have to say, even though Cloud9 felt much more confident in that fight, I think the way in which they engaged made them have a bit of a disadvantage. You could see High waited around the outside of this fight for so long without actually jumping in, whereas Pushu was getting down his Gatling gun and his missiles onto many people. Once Cloud9 saw Pushu, they were able to go for him, but as far as the overall positioning of the fight, Pushu got off substantially more damage than Sneaky did. At the same time, Peke was never really focused, and then could chase down with gold cards and his movement speed that he got from his upgraded boots very early on. That is a very promising fight for Fnatic, since they effectively got engaged on 5v5. And as far as overall damage does, you look at that bar at the bottom, they did a lot more damage to Cloud9 than Fnatic did.
And look at this. Cloud9 heavily shoving their way in towards the enemy jungle, making sure they can get this red buff locked down. And Fnatic, I'm not sure they can deal with this one. Soaz is just off at the side. Cyanide is there, but that red buff has gone.
Yeah, and I mean, this is another one of these games. I almost feel like Fnatic is slowly pulling ahead for whatever reason, and a lot of that just has to do with the 80 carry farm right now. Pushu is 173 to Sneaky's 123, and in that last fight, Cloud9 didn't necessarily display an ability to kill Pushu immediately, and they almost have to. High's rushed to Zhonya's, which means he's a little safer going in, but if Meteos and High cannot deal with Pushu on their own, I feel like he's going to wreck the midline of Cloud9 just with all the damage he's pumping out right now with his Trinity Force and the analyst desk disapproving of his sorcerer shoes.
Yeah, second blue buff in a row given across to Sneaky there as well, so they really want to keep those piercing arrows flowing, and Cloud9 stacking up towards his top lane. They've already taken that red buff away, starting to try and get ward control back in the jungle of Fnatic, but you do see Peke up there keeping them at bay, and Cloud9 react, they spin around to the mid lane.
And I do have to note that Peke has 600 gold from his loaded dice passive right now, so if it was a normal character, the gold would be actually up for a bit by Cloud9. They might engage right off a little bit of harass.
So as of course it could be a kill streak. He uses that let's bounce, but that's only simply to get away from Hell. Where is Cyanide going to go? That's a fantastic equalizer coming out from Balls, straight on the mark, and that is going to be an easy double kill picked up by Cloud9.
And that was why Balls is so confident in these games, falling behind on Rumble, because he can destroy people with those equalizers. But at the same time, that took out the jungler and the support of Fnatic, the two weakest people. If that was a team fight in a more contestable, inescapable area, Fnatic may have been able to come out on top of that one because Pushu was effectively untouched. Now Fnatic was actually hoping to get a counterattack because they realized how strong they were. Cloud9 had just pulled back.
Using their ultimate to get vision, making sure Cloud9 are nowhere near it. And they will take themselves their own blue buff. High down the bottom, he's going to get himself a massive wave. But is it going to be too much?
That's a little greedy. Don't get that last one. You got to run, man.
He's got to run. He's going to see a very aggressive Pushu, but he's gone too deep. Zonya's Act, that's already been used, though. He's going to get a bounce. Stretching strike was used. That's going to be the stun card. High's going to go down here. And Fnatic managed to get themselves a guerrilla warfare strike.
There's just not that much ward control from Cloud9 right now. You can see they're trying to get some of it back. There was a Boots of Mobility rush by Lemon Nation, which actually diminished the amount of early wards he was able to put down. And against Fnatic, you're really playing with fire when you're low on wards, because at one point, Fnatic actually wins a lot of their games because they force the enemy to overward since they're so good at controlling you with their rotations. So Cloud9 is actually kind of countering right now by actually underwarding and just hoping to outmaneuver Fnatic when they go for plays. That was just High getting burned by a little bit of extra farming.
So check it out once again as we approach the 23-minute mark. 500 gold between these two teams. Both got 3 towers down. Just the one dragon so far, I believe, that's gone towards Cloud9. Maybe 2, actually. Not too sure on my exact maths there. But the dragon will be up in 50 seconds regardless. And Fnatic, this time, may have positional control. You can see there's a couple of wards from Cloud9 just on the river, but nothing around the dragon. And sure enough, Fnatic pinged straight on it.
Soaz is actually very strong right now on his Zac with a Spirit Visage and a Sunfire Cape. He's much too large for Sneaky to deal with by himself at the moment, and Cloud9 has definitely tried to control these games from the Dragon area, but Fnatic has controlled them by catching people out of position.
Let's bounce used from Soaz. He's going in. High's already used to jump out of it. There's the Zonya's Hourglass. Great damage on towards Peke. Can he turn it back around? No! He can't get the Urchin Strike. This time Meteos can, but may well be detriment of his own health. He's going to go down. Soaz finally gets dropped. Cell division. But look at the damage coming out from Balls! Absolutely melts Fnatic down. Cyanide's going to try and save Soaz, but Cloud9 turned this fight on its head. Can they get the ace? They can just get the slide on towards him. Pitching out and doesn't find his target. I feel Cyanide may have done just enough to escape this one. A 4-4-3.
And even though that fight was a crazy turnaround, it's still a close one. Check out Fnatic thinking they have this fight because they catch Sneaky and Lemon Nation a little bit. Meteos re-engages. Even though Peke was bursted down, that effectively felt like a 1-for-2 because Meteos was taken out as well. We have to cut away from that, though, because Cloud9 is trying to take the dragon here.
And they're going to get it. That's going to slide the gold. It's a 3,000 in their favor. That is a big, big turnaround for Cloud9 because they were the ones that got engaged on that hook from Lemonation on Soaz during Let's Bounce. Absolutely stopped him in his tracks. And Fnatic, they were a little overconfident going into that fight, I feel. Let's look at the items. Let's look what's going on between these teams because we're going to have a moment of respite here, I feel.
Maybe.
As I'm just looking at Pushu.
D-Man, game 1 broke around 25 minutes when Fnatic seemed to pull ahead. That was a 24 or 23-minute fight where Fnatic was trying to pull off a similar maneuver, but this time Cloud9 kind of had a counter for it. I really wonder if now Cloud9's going to take that fight to slingshot themselves ahead. Just taking a look at the items as well, you can see Meteos is a completed item ahead, effectively. He's got the Locket of the Iron Solari, whereas Cyanide is just sitting on his Aegis of the Legion. They were able to finish off Pushu that fight and kind of eliminate his threat, whereas Sneaky's going with that Legolas full Archer outside build where he's just trying to poke with piercing arrows. And High hasn't hit his Lichbane yet. I think that would be a moment for Cloud9 to break if they can get there quickly enough.
I'm looking at that last fight. Soaz obviously goes in. He's going to be getting a Let's Bounce on. Didn't really get on too many people. But Pushu has Valkyried into that fight a couple of times now. He's going straight into Balls' Flame Spitter. He's absolutely melting Yellowstar and Pushu right now, as well as Peke. They're all really squishy targets. And he seems to be landing that equalizer perfectly on point.
Yep.
And they're just melting.
And he's gone with a slightly more defensive Rumble build. This is the magic penetration straight into a Rylai's and then a Negatron Cloak. The reason I love the Negatron Cloak instead of an armor item is because he's diving onto Corki, who, as we've mentioned before, actually does more magic damage than he does physical damage, especially if he's itemizing for those Sorcerer's Shoes. So immediately, Balls is trying to actually turn himself into a bulldozer that runs through Fnatic's teams and finishes off Pushu.
Well, Fnatic know that the blue buff is coming up soon, as the Cloud9. Look at this. You can see the defensive posture from both teams. Cloud9 being the aggressor, though. They're going to come in with that Oracle, clear out the wards.
Oh, Fnatic's waiting.
Fnatic already awaiting. His Lemination's going to be the focus. Stranglethorns goes down. High's going to get bounced in the air. Will they get the damage, though? Another fantastic equalizer. Melted Fnatic. Peke gets dropped. Cyanide in trouble. He's all over it. There's Pushu. He's going to get locked down. Valkyrie's out.
Soaz
comes back in there. Yellowstar taken down by Meteos on the backside. Pushu and Soaz having to back out of there. It's simply a 2-for-3 exchange once again. Chaotic fights.
Are we going to have a fight that actually goes all in one direction? It's always 3 for 2, 4 for 3, 2 for 1, 1 for 0. It's always close. That time, Fnatic tried to pull off their brush maneuver, but Cloud9 had the lead and were able to re-engage strongly. I'd say Meteos got a little bit lost in that fight, chasing away from his team, and it allowed Pushu to pick up 2 kills, which is extremely dangerous if you're Cloud9 right now.
So, let's take stock again. This could be an objective picked up here. Cloud9 on this. Oh, Pushu's going to get caught out. He doesn't want a bean of Meteos right now, but he has got ward coverage. He may continue pushing on towards him. He's got cover from the side of Sneaky and Balls, so he doesn't want to pursue too deeply into that unwarded jungle.
So right now, we can see by Peke's build that he is going for more of a split push threat. Twin Shadows and Lichbane, 2 movement speed items right now, as well as helping himself out with a little bit of magic resistance to stop High from diving on top of him. If we're looking at Cloud9's team in general right now, they're generally diving with magic damage. It's Sharks that are trying to keep people on top of Balls as equalizers, and I really do have to hand it to Cloud9 as far as team fights go, because so much of what makes Balls good at Rumble is his team's ability to keep people within his equalizer. We see a lot of Rumble struggle keeping with that, but they have Sneaky's Varus ultimate, the Shark from High, and only Fear from Meteos that are keeping people there. But even so, Fnatic is really struggling to get around that spell.
Well, as of yet, we haven't actually seen Peke. He's not been able to split push either. That's
no.
You know, got to give Cloud9 credit for that one. They've been keeping them fighting over those objectives. Dragon's going to be up in 2 minutes' time. You bet your life that's going to be the focus for both of these teams, as the goal differential is still only 3,500 in Cloud9's favor. 28 minutes gone in this game. We had a 33-minute game in match 1, which Fnatic, you can see, are 1-0 up. That snowballed heavily in their favor. Can Cloud9 do the same? Because these fights are slowly teetering on the edge towards Cloud9.
Yep, but the game definitely has not broken yet. Fnatic is always getting something back, which is preventing heavy pushes from Cloud9 coming out later. This is the Cloud9 mid-game dive that they like to do, but there's no turret there. So what are they going to actually be diving? At this point, they're just trying to take control back of the map. Maybe Cloud9 goes for a few more dragons, maybe they go for a few more barons, or maybe they try and actually catch Fnatic in a ward rotation as they threaten Baron. I'm really not sure, because this game is too close.
This game is very close. There's Pierce now, as you saw from Sneaky when he landed on Peke. It did a lot of damage. He hasn't got a great deal of hit points, and if he gets focused on, you see Pushu low, throwing out those rockets. He will keep them at bay here. Cloud9 seeing if they can siege it down. Fnatic thought about it. Elastic Slingshot being charged up by Soaz, but does get cancelled out.
And there's a monstrous wave in the bottom lane of Cloud9 right now that they would actually want to go down and farm, because that's a huge amount of gold that they'd be able to pick up. But Cloud9 is just so happy about having Fnatic contained to their base right now that they're sitting here for a little while longer.
And we'll see where the High keeps on pushing his top lane. See Peke going around to rotate up there. That tower's very low, and Cloud9, I think, have got positional advantage. Peke's going to come in, but I don't think he should be here. They're going to see, they're going to dive in. They're going to see Earth bounce up. Peke taking so low. He gets dropped before he gets a chance to survive. Let's bounce being used. High's going to get focused on. He's taken low. Tower already dropped. Soaz goes in. He gets himself a kill. Now they're on towards Lamination. Cyanide focusing on there. Balls is going to come in. Again, equalizer. This time doesn't find his target. Soaz is so low. Cell Division will be back up. Meteos does manage to turn the fear back towards him. Cell Division used in there. Cyanide and Yellowstone trying to keep them at bay, trying to keep them away. Pushu's backed up already. He's going to come around. That's going to be another kill, and it is another 2-for-1 exchange, again going in favor of Cloud9.
So slowly but surely, Cloud9 is winning fight after fight, and they've now moved their gold lead to 5,000. They caught Peke that time, trying to make a rotation towards defending that turret. High definitely manned up and went for the kill. He's really just trading his life for Peke's life over and over again. He's 2-5 on Fizz. Even through the exhaust, they were able to burst him down, but then you can see Sneaky had to finish off the turret for the safety of this dive, and Balls was trying to zone out the rest of the Fnatic team. If Balls had actually pinned Pushu with that equalizer, it could have been a much better fight for Fnatic, and they maybe could have taken the inhibitor. But because they didn't, Fnatic's on the counterattack.
Uh-oh, Peke goes in, uses that Destiny, finds Elimination. He's going to go down. That will be Peke picking up the kill there, and this may open up the Dragon. Pushu's already starting it out here. I don't think Cloud9 can fight it. It was a big gold lead for Cloud9, let's not forget. So this is not going to pull Fnatic in it just yet.
It was still amazing timing there for Fnatic to make a move down there. Peke still had his ultimate up because he got caught in the first fight and was then able to use it to catch Elimination. You could tell that Cloud9 was trying to use Dragon as an objective to extend their lead. That's why Elimination was down there ahead of his team. He just didn't expect Fnatic to so aggressively pursue that objective since Fnatic had slowly lost so many previous team fights for that one. Again, Fnatic just having that element of surprise and unpredictability that catches Elimination off guard.
Catching Cloud9 out. Whew. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment. Let's have a look at this game. Let's see what is developing. The AD carries are becoming monsters. Sneaky, you can see. Bloodthirster, Last Whisper. He actually built up that Zeal quite a while ago, but he switched to a BF sword now. So once the bit feels he needs a little bit more damage on that piercing arrow, it's already doing big chunks of Peke when it lands. Pushu in the meanwhile, you can see that Infinity Edge now completed, along with the Trinity Force and Last Whisper he's had a while. Yeah,
right now Pushu is a lot stronger than Sneaky, only because he has completed items. But I think as those carries approach max items, if this game goes for much longer, Sneaky would then actually have an edge on him, but as of now, definitely not. I like the fact that Hai has completed his Lichbane. We saw how much he can burst down before, but like, it's too crazy. It's 15-13, and the game still hasn't broken. Every time Fnatic looks out, there is a danger for Cloud9 to pounce on them with Nocturne and a Fizz ult, but then every time Cloud9 peels away or even thinks about splitting up, Peke is just picking them off with his Destiny. Even though Peke is not picking up kills, he has 11 of the 13 kills that Fnatic has been involved in, which is the highest participation on the team. This is so strong for both teams right now, and I usually don't say that.
Peke runs back, gets himself a Seeker's Arm Guard, realizing that piercing arrow is doing a little bit too much damage to him, and he could easily get melted by Sneaky a little bit too quick. And again, walks in, nearly catches it straight back on. That High getting a little bit too close to that tower. Cocoon lands on him. A good burst of damage. So has thought about continuing on that one. You see the elastic slingshot didn't quite find his target, and Fnatic beat them out of their turret.
Cloud9 needs a new plan for this, because they have not gotten a smidgen of damage onto that middle turret, and High took half of his health for nearly no reward. Either Cloud9 needs to just split push and try and catch Fnatic in another rotation between turrets, or Cloud9 needs to start warding up the Baron pit and starving Fnatic out as they try and check. That mid lane siege is not going to work against Twisted Fate and Corki.
Fnatic not getting in position quick enough to defend this inner turret. They are 3 members down there, but again, that piercing arrow, it's rattling through and doing the work it needs to. But that minion wave, it's getting kept off. So as with the elastic slingshot, gets hooked in there, but they've gone a little deep. What a fantastic kill there, though. Straight away, push you down. That's a massive damage dealer for Fnatic. They've got to back out of this fight, and you can see High, he wants to go in. Urchin strike on towards Cyno. He's going to go down, the dot ticking away, and that is another 2 kills. 3 kills, count that, for Cloud9 and an objective. They could push on towards the inhibitor here.
And the game may have just broken wide open, D-Man. This is the first decisive victory Cloud9 has had in a fight. There's still 3 people dead on Fnatic, and because the game is late, those death timers are still over 30 seconds. TF and Zyra will try desperately to hold this off, but Cloud9 wants the inhibitor.
Chain of Corruption coming out, but it doesn't find his target. They're still very low, remember. You can see those wildcards coming through. I having to dodge out of that one. He is going to take the inhibitor down, though. So Cloud9 have broken the siege.
This is very cautious right now for Cloud9, though. Peke is going to try and stop this recall as long as possible because he knows Fnatic is coming up and they could rush the Baron, right? So if Cloud9 doesn't recall together, the wildcards are going to keep them slow. See, they're going to keep chasing this one. Cloud9 needs to try and make this escape. The rest of Fnatic, though, is going to run towards Baron. This is testy.
Oh, so Cloud9 are backing off. They're going to all base. Have Fnatic going to get in there quick enough? You can see there's a giant wave on the bottom wave pushing on towards that inner turret. They're not going to worry about that, though. But they are. Cloud9 all going towards it.
They actually forced everyone on Cloud9 to build home guard boots with that maneuver. So that Peke play just cost Fnatic, or Cloud9, thousands of gold, and they're still going for it. If they corner themselves here, the game could be over. Cloud9 has their ultimates up. They're going.
Equalizer goes in. Peke flashes away from it. They're going to see getting hooked in there. That's a great lash straight away coming out from Elimination. Pushu gets drilled down. Cyanide in trouble. Fnatic are dropping like flies, and Cloud9 can just turn onto Baron themselves. High's pursuing on towards Peke. He's not going to let him escape here, but it's the Baron going to Cloud9 that will turn the fight on its head.
And I feel like that was the last-ditch effort for Fnatic, trying to desperation Baron, but Cloud9 saw exactly what was coming. They made it back in time, and the fact that all 5 people on their team purchased home guard boots gave them the seconds that were required to stop that Baron. There are still 2 people down on Fnatic, and Baron buff on 5 for Cloud9. This turret seems indefensible.
So Cloud9 pushing in. Have they turned this game on its head? Have they done enough? 33 minutes, game 1 that Fnatic picked up. 36 minutes now, Cloud9 seemingly charging through the base of Fnatic. Have they done enough to take this game to all square in the series?
You can hear the Cloud9 chants now coming out from this heavily North American crowd. And based on those last sequence of events, it's going to take a whole lot for Fnatic to come back in this game. They needed Peke to get strong in order to split push. Fnatic was staying alive mainly by catching individuals off for Cloud9. But now that there are 2 inhibitors down for Fnatic, Cloud9 doesn't need to worry about maintaining presence in 2 out of the 3 lanes. Every single person on Cloud9 can go back and shop and push down that 3rd inhibitor, and Fnatic is effectively forced to defend that with 4 people, because Fnatic actually needs 1 person full-time to defend the 2 waves of super minions.
Dragon spawns, and Cloud9 already unweighted. That Baron buff on them has already taken down an inhibitor. The top wave being pushed out by Fnatic, but it is Cloud9 that are in the driving seat right now. Fnatic trying to keep those super minions at bay, but everything is being taken away from them. Dragon goes, Blue goes. It's only a matter of time before Cloud9 come knocking on the front door.
Yeah, and they have many cloaks as well. Lemon Nation has done well with his objective
cloaks.
goal. He's got a couple Megatron cloaks in there, totaling 186 magic resist right now. He's going to be wanting diving in with the rest of the team, and this is a full magic damage Fnatic team. This is Lemon Nation just calling it out and being like, I don't need armor. I'm a tanky support right now.
I'm a tanky support. And that's simply like all he needs. But Sneaky's piercing arrows have been on point. Every single time the fights start for Fnatic, they're about half hit points. Peke or Pushu already getting targeted every single time. So they're going into the fight at 3/4 health.
And all it takes is one of High's Sharks, and they spam down onto that target, because Meteos will go in with Fizz, their dive buddies, the equalizer comes down on top of it, and that person is dead. It starts the fight 4v5. Cloud9 has some of the best team fight coordination in the world, and that's the reason they were 30-3 in the North American LCS. Round 2.
High comes around the side there. They're going to dive on towards Peke. He's just going to get dropped where he stands. Equalizer comes down. Pushu trying to put as much work as he can in, but he just can't fight down Cloud9. He's putting the rockets out, but it doesn't matter. The rest of his team have dropped like flies. It's going to be the 3rd inhibitor of the game going to Cloud9. Cloud9 will close this game out surely. There's nothing Fnatic can do. We're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. North America strikes back.
Another clean team fight for Cloud9, and absolutely they struck back with a vengeance. Both of these games, D-Man, were incredibly close, and I can't wait for game 3.
Cloud9 take victory against Fnatic. We are all square. As the focus from High, the crowd absolutely loving it. The American champions putting up the fight that honestly we thought was going to come, because game 1 was close, game 2 was close, game 3 is going to be awesome.
I don't know. Henin, I believe, in all 3 of their games. No, Aatrox, Orianna, and Ahri.
Yeah.
My bad on that one. And then the only ban that has differed has been a Kassadin versus a Fizz, which was then first picked. And of course, Fizz gone right off the bat.
Yeah, they weren't having any of that. They're like, yep, you're pretty good on Fizz. We don't want that. We don't want that. So a bit of respect maybe finally coming out towards High there. Orianna going to get taken away. Looks like Cloud9 sticking to their guns. Probably going to see Ahri coming out afterwards.
They stuck to their guns after the first game. It's what got them to game 3. And Cloud9 came into this completely cold. Fnatic had 8 games in the group stage over the past week. Won 7 of them. They just suffered their 2nd loss, actually, of the entire World Championships, whereas Cloud9, they don't have the luxury of suffering a 2nd loss. If they lose again, they're out.
Rumble taken away. They're realizing that did not work. That leaves Kassadin open. Will they first pick it again, or will they allow it to go over to High? Do they feel there's a higher value first pick?
They should just go for Kassadin again.
It worked
for
so
them
well
in the first game. And since Cloud9 completely stuck with their bans, why wouldn't we see this? This is what Fnatic won with. I don't know if there's anything Cloud9 really could have done against this. It's either that or Orianna, I feel like. I think they're too afraid of Cyanide's Aatrox, and clearly too afraid of the Ahri for good reason. It would really just come down to that Orianna or Kassadin pick.
Finally, Kennen, of course, was allowed through. That is going to give it to Balls, and the Zyra taken away from Yellowstar at last.
Yeah, and Cloud9 is going to combo that with Ashe, and they don't think that Fnatic would pick Ashe without Zyra.
Yeah.
I feel like Fnatic is just going to try to mimic their composition that they had in the first game. Because they still have, well, they don't have the Zyra, right? But they could still do Corki. They could do that with Leona. They could almost just double up on the dive that they had originally. But at that time, it's more difficult to do that against Kennen Zyra. Just because it's so difficult to dive into both of those area of effect ultimates. I think that Kennen is mid lane, actually, for Hyde to go up against Cassidy.
Well, let's see where the Pushu goes for Corki. I think actually we may see the jungler coming out. I think Cyanide might show his hand, go for Jarvan early on here, because they don't want to show what they're going to be putting in that top lane. We're waiting down, obviously, Fnatic. Big discussions. You can see
Fnatic is so unpredictable in these phases.
Whole team, of course, Lee Sin. How would I forget? And they're taking Varus away. They know that actually Ashe is probably going to come out, so they're thinking we need something for range here.
They need something to counter back as far as crowd control goes. They know that Cloud9 likes to overload crowd control, and you know, once again, like, Fnatic is just so damn unpredictable in these situations. It would seem like they'd go for Corki once again. I'd almost expect still from Fnatic, even though Cloud9's picking right now, maybe their last two picks, why not Lissandra again, right?
Yeah.
Why not Leona and just go for the full-on dive? That's the thing that makes the most sense to me from Cloud9's perspective. Or sorry, from Fnatic's perspective. And wow, now Sneaky goes for Corki.
Sneaky goes for Corki instead of
They don't
Ashe.
do Zyra Ashe.
They go for Nocturne. Nocturne worked very well last time around. However, that was up against the gold card pulling Twisted Fate. This time around, Peke is not going to be too worried about that spell shield.
Yeah, so Meteos has fallen back on his two junglers. He only played two junglers in the North American Regionals, Elise and Nocturne. He's doing that once again. The Corki pick for Cloud9 fits in here because they have the Kennen mid lane. Cloud9 has like a minimum quota of how much crowd control to bring into a game. And since they have crowd control in the mid lane now, they don't need it from their AD carry position, so they're loading in more damage.
Well, Fnatic have 18 seconds. Leona has been used.
Leona, Lissandra. What else would Soaz? Soaz has pick of what he wants to do.
Soaz does have pick.
That would work too.
It's not a champion he
I know what
enjoys,
to do.
but it's definitely a champion of choice, and it has been locked in. So that's actually a lot of tankiness to go with the mobility that Fnatic have.
And immediately the Vladimir gets picked as well. That was waiting for the Shen pick.
Yeah.
We saw Balls' Vladimir against a Zac in the North American Regionals, and he completely outfarmed him later in the game. There was nothing that could chase him down. This time there's a Kassadin that could chase him down. He's going to want to try and lane it against Shen as much as possible and be that split push threat. Once again here, these teams got, even though they're stealing each other picks, almost exactly what they wanted. These are Cloud9-centric compositions with loads of damage and enough crowd control to lock people down while you're bursting them. And then Fnatic, they have Kassadin. That's all they need as far as their style goes.
The one difference here is Soaz is not on an assassin this time around.
No.
So the points of damage is only coming out from Peke and Pushu.
They have lower amounts of threats, and that burned them in Game 2 because Cloud9 had coordinated enough dives that they could take out Pushu or Peke at the start of fights. Then there was only one guy left, and that wasn't enough to clean them out. So what's going to happen?
What is going to happen? That is certainly the question on everybody's minds, and you can see Soaz. Pressure on these players is immense. Which region will come out on top? Will it be the North American LCS, which is being represented by Cloud9, or the European LCS represented by Fnatic? Fnatic, of course, won the spring and summer split.
Yeah.
Cloud9, this is their first international experience coming out here, and they are putting on a fantastic showing.
Absolutely. I mean, they were so incredibly dominant in the North American LCS. We just can't say enough. 25-3 in the regular season. Swept the playoffs. Set records as far as Meteos was concerned in KDA and least deaths throughout an entire split. And then they have to come in cold onto this giant stage against a powerhouse in Fnatic. Season 1 champions, as you said, #1 in Europe. This is a tall task for both teams to try and take down. I guess that's why it's the World Championships.
That is indeed why it's the World Championships, Jet, as we go into the game. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. It's Fnatic versus Cloud9, the battle of the ages, it seems, because pride is at stake, as well as a fair chunk of change and a place in the semi-finals. Who will they face? It's going to be Chinese opposition. Will it be OMG or Royal Club? We're going to be finding that out tomorrow. But right now, we want to know who is going to win. Who is going to come out on top? Will it be Fnatic, who currently picked up a great win in Game 1 and snowballed after 25 minutes up against Cloud9, who did effectively the same thing in Game 2. Both blue sides winning so far. Is it Fnatic's to take.
And there's two matchups I want to focus on specifically in this game. And again, it's Peke versus Hai, because that is such a swingy matchup. Peke, the MVP of Europe, and Hai has been attacked very heavily in picks and bans by Fnatic. Last game, Hai was able to come out on top, but Kennen should have an extremely strong laning phase against Kassadin. The other one I need to track here is the early laning of Yellow Star's Leona versus Lemon Nation Zyra, because if Yellow Star can somehow get level 2 before Lemon Nation and catches anything onto him, he'll kill Zyra straight off the bat. And now, Fnatic catches him in the brush.
The catch on towards Sneaky, he's going down, he's going to get dropped. First blood comes out, they make it a second as well. Lemon Nation's going to be the focus target, he gets locked up, Yellow Star goes in, and Cyanide gets a double kill.
That is immensely huge for Fnatic. They ran around the Cloud9 ward. Somehow they snuck into that brush before. I need to watch that again because Cloud9 has 2 wards down in the Fnatic jungle because I think they went through the lane. Someone's going to grill me for this.
They got there before they put the wards in.
They got there obviously before the wards went down, but Cloud9 was completely caught unawares. In Cloud9's losses so far in North America, it was often because of a level 1 disaster, and now that bottom lane of theirs is in a huge hole. They are definitely get out level 2'd, and they both died.
And Cyanide starts his jungling with a mattress. It's crazy. He's going to absolutely dominate through this.
Word.
Doesn't need to use smite. No clue. Doesn't need help for this blue. He's just going to dominate that jungle now. This is going to put Meteos in a big, tricky situation because he knows he's going to get countered by that Lee Sin.
In a game of this magnitude, starting while giving up the first 2 kills is just an extra amount of pressure that got put on Cloud9. Fnatic has so much confidence with the way they're moving right now. They're even going for Meteos' red buff. He's got to smite of the way and run. He can't even get level 3.
And while, you know, so many times we talk about level 1, we didn't actually get into like who would level 1 because they were up against a Shen and a Leona. Why would you even look in them bushes?
They were just caught completely by surprise. I mean, Zyra can have consistent threat at level 1 as well. It was really just Fnatic outmaneuvering them. There's the catch as well!
Lemon Nation caught out, having to use heal, which we didn't even touch on, by the way. Picking up the Summoner's heal, working out very well this time around, but Yellow Star and Pushu are starting to put a lot of pressure on that lane already.
And we have been so lulled into level 1s just being ward trades that we don't expect that much power to come out early on in the game. This has caught Cloud9 completely off guard. They were just executing a normal level 1 for themselves, and it was Fnatic now just jumping out ahead. How much can they turn this on its head? They already got the heal from Lemon Nation. This Yellow Star this Pushu versus Sneaky lane could completely turn, knowing that they started with a couple kills. But the big thing actually is Pushu hasn't shopped yet, and Sneaky didn't burn summoner spells when he died, which is very key to mention. Let's watch this level 1 again. They taunted right onto Sneaky, no chance. And one thing that was actually smart of Cloud9, aside from getting caught out and killed, is neither of them decided to use summoner spells because they knew how dead they were.
And more importantly, there was a lot of assists there. Soaz got the 2 assists. Pushu got the 2 assists. We saw the flash from Yellow Star, actually. It was burned to get that lockup on the final one. But big advantages gained by the European champions Fnatic in this very early game. Let's see how it develops, though. Not get carried away. It is very early on, and Meteos is coming up towards his top lane.
There's not a ward that sees him. Pushu and Yellow Star feeling very confident. They're going in.
They're going in for Pushu. Pushu may get locked up. The fear does get triggered, but it sends him towards his own tower, so it's not a favorable trade for Cloud9.
Extremely close now. Cyanide coming in the mid lane as well. Just lightning rushes away. That gank up top by Meteos needs to be pressured with some turret damage right now because they forced one back and they're effectively forcing Cyanide to come up and cover.
Remember, they took a 3-minute 33 tower in the first game. This time around, Cyanide is coming up there to cover it off. They're not going to keep on chunking down that tower. They effectively forced Fnatic out of their split push game in the last match. This game, they don't really need to do it. Maybe they will, with obviously the fact that Shen's there generally triggers that they are going to go split push. It's a very good trade for Soaz on Cloud Balls there.
Yeah, early on, Soaz is definitely pressuring this lane as heavily as possible. Balls will not be ramping up for another little while here. He needs to get about level 7 or 9 and a Spell Vamp Spirit in there. Ooh, Hai has his flash burned as well by Cyanide.
Double flash is burned, actually. Peke as well, taken very low, so the trade going well for Hai, but both of those flashes now down. It's going to affect Hai more than it is going to be Cyanide. Cyanide himself is just returning back to that jungle. He's going to be running like a monster around that jungle as well. In terms of farm, though, he's actually behind Meteos.
Meteos always managing to farm a little bit of his jungle. The main advantages in this game are just those first 2 kills. They get 600 gold for the first blood, a split of 500 gold for the second one, so it is exactly so. Fnatic did not go back and buy after they got the kills because they happened so late. So if we're going to see that 2 kills start to snowball, it's actually going to be now because Fnatic has went back, bought their first set of items, and is actually taking advantage of this gold lead.
Check out those items from the AD carriers. Sneaky went back, he got himself a double Doran's Blade. Guess a Phage will follow, leading into the inevitable Trinity Force. But look at Pushu. Because he got that early assist gold, he went straight for a pickaxe. Is that a little overconfident?
I don't think so at all. I think he's just trying to rush more damage than Sneaky can deal with. He's going to be building that into a Last Whisper anyway if he's going with the standard build. And he's just really just trying to get the immediate advantage. Balls has been dangerous for a while. The last time he scouted Cyanide with one of those Vladimir E's, this time he gets caught.
You're going to see the ultimate coming in. He's trying to catch him out. He has Kapul away. And he has got that ghost on. He's going to go deep. Cyanide on this one. He has got him down. And would you believe it? That's a 3rd kill for Cyanide.
Balls had burned his flash previously, gets his ghost burned on that one, and that was just a little bit of overconfidence in that lane. He picked the Vladimir as a counterpick to Soaz, had gotten a few levels under his belt, so thought that he would be able to start bullying him out, but that is why Cyanide was there for the gank.
And you know, for any jungler, I would say getting 3 kills on him, it's not favorable. You'd want him on the AD carry or something, but it's a Lee Sin. Lee Sin's going to get going, and he's going to start doing a lot of damage.
Especially if he can get around. The thing with this is Cyanide has an absolute window with which he can be effective here. He built it into a Sightstone. So he's not actually getting combat effectiveness out of this. If there is a team fight force for Cloud9, it is map control and mobility that he's building into that Lee Sin right now. He wants to be hopping around. He wants to stop Meteos from having effective gank paths, and he wants to catch Cloud9 in multiple rotations.
So this middle lane battle, Meteos is given the blue buff, or is he? He may take that for himself here.
Absolutely he will, because it's a Kennen and a Vladimir. Neither of those guys benefit off the blue buff. 3
members of Fnatic gathering in this middle lane. We do see Elimination coming down, realizing that something may be up. Pushy was spotted out there. They're going in towards High. High himself hasn't got flash available, but the kick from Cyanide does not find its target.
This game is going to be a dragon fight very shortly for Fnatic, I feel. They have the Shen in the top lane. He's made the transition, and there has not been a dragon play made yet. Lemon Nation is still not level 6. Neither is Sneaky on Corki, whereas Pushu and Yellowstar are about 3/4 of the way to their level thresholds. The AD carries are fighting each other in the bottom lane right now, and Fnatic has just went back to buy another fresh set of items. If Cloud9 doesn't stop the objective push by Fnatic, they may end up falling too far behind to make a realistic comeback. They're actually forced into a game-deciding decision much earlier than they would like to be because the double kill that was given up at level 1.
We do see Meteos is a long way from this dragon as well, so Fnatic seemingly will be gifted this one. I think Cloud9 may well have read the situation, but realized they're probably not in a situation to fight for a Yellowstar trying to get the lock on towards Elimination. Does take a big chunk of damage from that piercing arrow. Fnatic starting this one off. Cloud9 going to let him have it.
Yeah, Lemon Nation, you got to be careful, man. There is a lot of people that could kill you in this situation. They know Balls isn't there. They know Shen could teleport in. And this is effectively just a Fnatic power play.
Power play indeed. That's going to push the gold to a 1,500 lead for them. Cloud9 trying to clear and shove that middle lane. Remember that High, if he gets left alone, he will put a lot of damage down on this turret, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And Peke, as much as he likes to roam and with that teleport, is going to have to keep check on him.
And I feel like Cloud9's actually just trying to push Fnatic into a split push game right now. They know they fell behind early, and they have the split push Vladimir. He's got Ghost Flash. He's building in towards the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, and Balls is hoping to draw enough attention that Cloud9 can just trade farm in the lanes and effectively bypass the disaster that happened early on.
So, in terms of 2 top laners, Balls and Soaz, very much even. Of course, there is a death for Balls and a 3 assists for Soaz, so that's going to be Tippy's gold in terms of farm. And you can see it is around about 600 gold lead. No surprises there. The big surprise is really developing across the board is, of course, the jungler, but it is actually, despite the 3 kills, only a, 300 gold lead that Cyanide has over Meteos. So Meteos still doing a fantastic job of farming. Look at it, 72 to 32, because he's taken a couple of waves in the lanes as well.
Yeah, Meteos is getting his items, but it's about the rest of his team that's falling back. You can see Sneaky is yet even to complete a Phage. And Pushu is actually sitting on 1,800 gold right now on Varus. So when he goes back to base, he is going to pick up a truckload of damage.
Elimination once again, just sidestepping the strike from Yellowstar, desperately trying to get on towards him. Good plant control, actually coming around. He may get shut down here. No! Flash is out, flash burn, but for an ultimate.
Yeah, but that's a very low cooldown Leona ultimate right there. It's got 90 seconds from the time it's used, whereas Flash is much longer. Cloud9, though, gets first turret for the 3rd game in a row.
Absolutely, Peke had gone back. He's got himself that catalyst to go with the tiers. It's the same build he used him for game 1. He's going to keep that pressure on, but high, he's going to keep on shoving that turret down. Like you say, he's trying to force him into that split push fight. So as stacking out the health, along with that spectral count he got earlier on. Meanwhile, Balls, of course, going for a little bit of damage and lifesteal. But it's the AD carriage we want to focus on. Pushu went and got that pickaxe a long time ago. He must be sat on a fairly sizable amount of gold here. Yeah, 2,000 gold to 1,000 of Sneaky.
As far as actual items right now, though, Cloud9 might be able to duel this. They have Cleanse instead of Barrier. They flash for it, they catch Elimination, but that's a deep engage.
Chain of Corruption goes down, so you're going to see the Stranglethorns coming out, but it is going to be enough to get themselves a kill. Elimination goes down.
This is very much turning into a Fnatic roam style game. They're getting so many kills and they can force them seemingly whenever they want. Right there, just flash straight into Elimination to burst him down, and now they're going to try and push on the turret because they've left Balls and Meteos in the top lane for maybe a trade.
And the thing is, Soaz, of course, used that Stand United, made sure he got the assist goal, but they do give up that top turret. So in terms of objectives, it is Cloud9 that are going to be in the lead. Peke getting caught out. Riftwalk comes down. Cyanide's going to be the focus target. Flashes out of that ultimate, and he will avoid the damage. Fnatic continuing to push down this bottom lane. They get themselves to first tower. Cloud9 will get that top one, though, so it's 2-1 currently in terms of towers.
And I know we say it all the time, but Peke has farmed up fairly well on Kassadin, and this is the point in the game where he's going to want to take over. Elimination, you can't go in there.
Uh-oh, he's going to get caught out, stunned, snake down. And that is another free kill, effectively, on Elimination. He is getting focused.
Yep. If Leona gets ahead of Zyra, it's not good for Zyra. She cannot check her own jungle for blue buffs. This is something Fnatic has controlled well in all 3 games against Cloud9. Yet another blue buff steal for Peke, and this is going to increase the threat of Peke around the map as well. Cloud9 wanted to set up a split push strategy here. Balls wants to be split pushing off on his own, but if Peke has the blue buff on Kassadin, he can control pretty much the entire map because rift walking no longer becomes a cost for him.
This is almost certainly the most pressure I think Cloud9 have been under in their professional gaming lives. Fnatic 5-0 up in kills, 2,000 gold almost in the lead now. Actually trailing on turrets, but that's not really the focus because Fnatic are getting the game that they want. Pushu, Infinity Edge, not in gun boots, just gone straight Infinity Edge.
He's definitely trying to snowball this one. That's what he did with the early pickaxe. Occasionally we see Varus go for the Infinity Edge rush. He's actually still maxing his piercing arrow. He's just hoping to get a couple crits right now to turn a lane on its head. I actually think that the next dragon fight is going to be a huge impact. But again, this is that roaming power of Fnatic. Leona's coming in. Meteos might try to help this one if Balls can get out of it.
Yellowstar comes around. He was waiting for that pull. He's going to get locked up. There it is. Dead. Against Balls goes down. It's 6-0 in kills now. Cloud9 have a good response here, but I'm not too sure they want to go for it. That could be a turret for Fnatic. Now look at Sneaky. He's in trouble. Peke closes the gap. He's going to get caught. Force Pulse goes down. He doesn't have a turret. Cyanide catches on towards him. Still dodges the trade. Oh, nicely rift walk out of that. And that will be another kill, but this time it is Peke.
And the worst thing about these deaths for Cloud9 is they're burning their summoner spells and dying, which means the next set of roams are even more deadly from Fnatic. Cloud9 completely on their heels right now and not able to deal with this roaming assassination squad of Fnatic.
And they pinged onto high and they were like, he's staying here. Let's keep pushing. They've got that split push going on the top and on the bottom. Now we see they're going to see high coming in there. Fnatic, I feel, will back away from that one as Cyanide does manage to land the Q. They went in for it. As we don't quite see it, High's dead.
Again, one after the other. Fnatic has brush control in all these pink wards, and Cloud9 is desperately trying to get it back because they're trying to farm their lanes, but Fnatic is just not allowing them. 1 kill turns into 8 kills.
And the danger right now is that Peke is getting them kills. 2-0 is equal in farm, and we see High, he's trying to get that Zhonya's Hourglass back out again. Cloud9 might try Rush Dragon here.
This would be their last-ditch effort, but Cloud9 wanted to set up this Dragon when Hai was level 11 with his ultimate up, but because of the roaming of Peke and the rest of Fnatic, they were able to kill Hai and burn his ultimate. So this Dragon becomes a much less attractive fight for Cloud9. I still almost feel like they have to go for it, though, because the lanes aren't safe, and the first thing they want to do is actually have a fight against Fnatic, where they have a hope of a chance.
And you've got to give Fnatic
all the credit in the world.
All the credit in the world. From that very first 2 kills, they've kept the pressure on Cloud9 every single step of the way, all 16 minutes of this game.
Everyone with the roam, the Lee Sin especially, picked this time for Cyanide. Instead of Jarvan, instead of Elise, he goes for it, gets the first 2 kills, and he has transitioned brilliantly. The early Sightstone for the map control, and now, potentially, a game-breaking Dragon fight.
Big, big fight. There's a 4,000 gold advantage for Fnatic, and everybody has bought items. Peke probably sat in a chunk of gold. Actually, no, he's just been back and got that blasting 1. And remember, they're up against Elise Sin, as well as Cyanide. No, Meteos, this would be a horrible smite fight for Cloud9, which is why they're going to back out. Yellowstar goes in on towards Hai. He's going to catch him down. Peke comes in. It's another kill for Peke. Ball's taken low as well. That's going to be the inner turret, the middle turret going down as well. Meteos does get himself the bottom turret. It's going to be an even trading turret, but Fnatic can keep going on the inner here.
Fnatic has endless aggression. It is consistently catching Cloud9 off guard. Everyone can chase for Fnatic. Everyone is diving in, and it is working masterfully.
Meteos continues to push on the bottom lane. He may get that down before Fnatic responds. No, teleport coming in there. It is going to be Peke on towards him. That's going to be the inner turret going down as well. Peke is going to give chase on towards Meteos here. I'm not sure he can get away. The rest of Fnatic are closing the gap as well. You can see Yellowstar pushing along the top side. They have full control of Meteos. He uses that fear leash, but he's only simply going to send Peke away. Rift walks back in there, goes in towards the Paranoia, goes straight in towards Yellowstar. The kill goes to Pushu.
Fnatic is everywhere, as far as Meteos is concerned right there. He thought he was going to make a great escape, but again, summoners and ultimates burned by Cloud9 attempting to escape, meaning the cycle of death will never end for Cloud9 because Fnatic can continually catch them without defensive summoner spells and keep growing this lead.
Hai might get caught out of position here. Peke feels like he go for it, goes in, puts that Rift Walk down, and Force Pulses onto Balls. Hai is sticking around it. They may try and turn this one towards Peke. They have got good damage and he's low on mana, but they can't pick anything up from him. It's 10-0 in kills. This game is dangerously turning into an avalanche for Fnatic.
It may already be an avalanche right now if we just think of what Cloud9 has been able to do about it, because it's effectively nothing. Cloud9 has been in the process of setting up a play, but Fnatic stops it right there. They're killing Cloud9 in the planning phase. So as on Shen hasn't even had to use his ultimates. That's how far away Cloud9 is to making plays. Yellowstar has been everywhere with Leona. Cyanide has been everywhere with Lee Sin. And it's normally actually, in a typical Fnatic game, you have that 4-man squad that goes around for Fnatic and then Peke making plays. This time, it's just a scatter of everyone. It's another unexpected move. Sometimes it's just Cyanide and Yellowstar. Sometimes it's Pushu and Peke. It's really no way of Cloud9 keeping track of them. And since Cloud9 continually keeps dying in these lanes, there's no way of them getting the control back. This lead is just going bigger and bigger, and Peke has the freedom to wait.
And look at it going towards Hai. Actually, maybe Yellowstar that's caught out of position. Slicing Maelstrom comes down. That's going to be a quick ultimate coming out. Stand United slices across. Yellowstar is back in there as well. He's going to back out. So as he gets caught with the fear leash, he may shadow dash across. He does. Hai gets caught out. Peke's coming up from the bottom lane right now. Hai's going to try and get away from this one. He will get taken down. The damage is too strong. Chain of Corruption lands on towards Balls and Lamination. Meteos is trying to put damage, but simply put, Yellowstar is too tanky right now. He can't take him down. It's going to be Meteos going down. Can he get the kill? No, he can't. And now Peke, he's going to keep on chasing. Gets on towards Ball. Rift walks back on towards him. Force Pulse on there. They're going to give up. And as you say, that was simply Cloud9. They thought they caught Yellowstar out, but they turned it around.
Yellowstar is a powerful Leona right now. So much base stats and base armor. His W is actually max, so they were trying to finish off Leona, who had a bonus 70 armor and magic resistance, whereas Meteos hasn't built a singular offensive item. Hai is too far behind as well. He hasn't completed his Zhonya's Hourglass. No one on Cloud9 has been able to reach their farm thresholds because everyone else on Fnatic has been denying them from farming by killing them.
Well, you mentioned Balls. He is a great farmer, and he is actually ahead in farm, but that doesn't matter because Soaz is just so strong. And look at the gold across the board globally is massively in the favor of Fnatic because they've all been helping out in these kills. 12-0 the kill score right now for the European champions Fnatic. They seem to have stolen a march over Cloud9, and right now it's simply Cloud9. They have to turtle this one. They have to sit back. Can they try and push those lanes? It seems to be Balls is the chosen split pusher, as you mentioned right at the start, but I'm not sure it's going to work.
Yeah, from Champion Select, Balls was the guy who has to split push, but from level 1, things have just went too badly for Cloud9 right now. The first and second games were so incredibly close, and then Fnatic had the aggression to just go for a big play level 1. They got the gamble to pay off, and really since then, Fnatic has just played masterfully. They've stopped everything Cloud9 has been trying to do. Cloud9 actually got a little sloppy sometimes, checking brushes they didn't necessarily need to check, but it's Fnatic. Fnatic is in every brush as far as they know.
5 members of Fnatic coming to that top, and High taken down half his health from a single combo from Peke. Oh, the piercing arrow lands. They got to back out of this one. They can't give this fight up. You can see Cloud9 is going to catch up towards Lemonation. He's going to get locked down. Balls tries to come back in there, puts a good hemo flake down across Fnatic, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done. Piercing arrow lands on Sneaky along with a Null Sphere, and he is forced out of the fight as well. Fnatic can keep on pushing.
Yeah, and they definitely want to. They still have some engages up. Pushu has his Varus ultimate, and this is a strong push they can put down onto Cloud9. Peke, fearless.
Every single combo that comes out from Peke is dropping. High down, another piercing arrow lands. This is going to be the first inhibitor of the game. Ball's getting caught down. He comes out. Chain of Corruption onto Sneaky, cleansed off that. And Fnatic actually backing away from this one.
But the damage has been done. This gold lead is now almost 9,000, 22 minutes into the game. Cloud9 has yet to return a single kill against this Fnatic power death squad that's just flying through them. Dive on top of dive. And Cloud9 just looks too far behind to return any type of significant damage.
Sneaky desperately shoving this wave, knowing that Fnatic are back top. They're trying to push those lanes out as strong and fast as they can as they run towards the Baron.
It's a Baron rush. This is a last-ditch effort by Cloud9. They cleared a ward as they were approaching. I mean, Fnatic has to know that they're going for this. Peke's running up towards, he's teleporting in behind. This could be a disaster for Cloud9. That Baron is not going down very quickly, and Fnatic is laying in wait to engage this one. This could get ugly.
Peke comes in, gets vision, gets a chunk on towards Sneaky. Soaz is going to come in. Shadow Dash is available. Who will he lock for? It's going to be Sneaky. Meteor's taken down. Cyanide goes in there as well. The smite fight might be on. Will they get it? Yes,
Meteor's got it.
Cloud9 got it, but they're all taking too much damage. The Force Pulse comes out. Balls is going to get taken down. Hit right in the name by Soaz, and that will be surely the ace for Fnatic.
Fnatic responds to the Baron right there. They do not care that they lost the Smite War because they have 5 people dead on Cloud9. It means they have free access to these lanes and inhibitors.
This could be the game for Fnatic. 18-0. Could it be the perfect game? That's the question. They've technically lost 3 turrets, so maybe not. But nevertheless, it's an inhibitor. What, the top and the middle going down.
It is a demolition derby right now for Fnatic. Even though they lost 3 turrets of their own, there's no defenses up for Cloud9. The Baron buff that was taken is gone for Cloud9. They are helplessly trying to defend this base.
In actual fact, they only get 1 inhibitor down. They didn't get the turret down because they split. And let's face it, it's only 24 minutes into this game. It's very early on. Those spawn times are pretty short.
And to be fair, the bounties on Cloud9 are getting really small. Every time they die, they're worth less and less gold. I mean, we're talking about this game being a huge snowball, and it absolutely is. And this was just Cloud9. They're just wanting the Baron gold at this point. They're hoping that they could get something back because they are worth such little amounts of gold. You can see 220 gold for that kill. Balls only worth about 180 as well for that one. And if Cloud9 can continue to get objectives, they're hoping to keep themselves at least a little bit in this game, because if they get any type of kills back on a Fnatic, just thinking about this logically, 18-0 seems like actually a much worse snowball than this is, even though it's already it's a pretty bad snowball, to be quite fair. But if Cloud9 gets any return kills, it's generally 750 gold to the team for one of them, and a whole bunch of experience.
They may get it here. Oh, they passed each other. Nobody saw it. Cyanide goes past the Tribush. Nobody kind of caught each other's position, but it doesn't matter. Fnatic are on the inhib.
Either way, if they went for that kill, Fnatic would just get this inhibitor clearing away. They still may get. It would be a 5v5 with a 9,000 gold lead, and Cloud9 is just rushing out for an attempted defense.
Another turret falls for Fnatic as they keep driving on in there. Piercing arrow wiping out the wave. Peke putting a burst of damage down. Paranoia going out. It's on Pushu. That's going to be the focus target. But Meteos has gone very deep. Oh, the ultimate comes out from Yellowstone. Catches them all down. Good damage. First kill finally for Cloud9. Catching on towards it. Stranglethorn bounces Yellowstone in the air.
Peke is full.
Is it enough? Peke comes back in there. He gets on towards Lemonation. Ball's being taken down by this support just off the side there. Peke goes around. around. He gets himself the triple, and Fnatic keep driving on home the victory.
21 kills to 1 right now. Fnatic continuing this push. They get inhibitor number 2, and maybe the game. Sneaky and Meteos have to defend.
Fnatic are looking strong in this one. They've looked strong from that very beginning. The second inhibitor of the game will go down. I'm not sure they're going to push for victory just yet,
No.
but it seems that it's only a matter of time.
Well, the first 2 games were close and then broke at 25 minutes. This game broke way before that. We can see Cloud9 tries to get an engage on. They actually got a pretty good one. Balls landed a Hemo Plague onto many, as High actually got off a good Kennen ultimate, but at the same time, he died before he could get his Zhonya's off. Peke was untouched. He then roamed in and finished off. This is the games that Peke absolutely adores as casted. When his team is strong enough to do all the early work for him, and he can just come in for delicious desserts.
I think one thing has been made clear. There's going to be no Kassadin in the semi-finals. That, I think, we can guarantee, because right now Fnatic are looking like a shoo-in to be playing in the Galen Center.
Here's the craziest thing, is I don't even think the casting has been the deciding factor in this game. Peke has been great, but it's the rest of the team that has grown this lead for him. So much of it was Yellowstar and Pushu roaming around with Leona, killing Lemon Nation over and over, so as holding his own against balls with the split push. And Cyanide, he's the one who started this game 3-0, got the early Sightstone, and completely took control of the map.
Well, Fnatic driving on through, doing it by the numbers, tutorial style, I believe, is the statement we can use here, because the final inhibitor turret of the game is being focused, and Yellowstar manages to land his ultimate elimination, and High manages to get his Zhonya's Hourglass off just in time. Chain of Corruption comes out, pulls his drone, puts some damage down. Hemo Plague on towards Cyanide, tries to get the kill. Yellowstar does go down. That's the second kill of the game for Cloud9, but it is going to be another triple for Peke. Here comes the Quadra. They're going to give it to him. Yes, they are. It is Peke dominating 11-0-7. Fnatic are going to go through to the semi-finals, taking down the North American champions, Cloud9.
It was a great series. This game, though, was completely one-sided for Fnatic. They dominated Cloud9 from minute 1, and that has got to feel good. They were against a Cloud9 crowd. These are the Season 1 champions back in Season 3. They powered through the group stage of 7-1, and now they powered through Cloud9 here in Game 3 to give themselves a berth in the semifinals.
I hate to say it, Jack, but the North American LCS are out of this tournament. All 3 teams have now been eliminated as the European champions do move through to those semi-finals. They're going to be up against one of the Chinese teams, OMG or Royal Gaming Club. It's going to be a tough fight regardless, but that was, as you said, a fantastic 3-match series. The first and second games were incredibly close at the 25th minute mark. 26-2 says it all about the third match.
Absolutely. You could tell Fnatic just piled on at the end. The fans giving Cloud9 a strong ovation as well. It was a great season for them. Their first split in the LCS. They got the #1 seed in North America and nearly took down Fnatic.
And that is such an important thing to say. That was their first ever split. They've literally had one split. That's it. They've had 28 games and they're into the World Championships. They've got a lot of experience from international, and honestly, they put on a fantastic show.